I'll not be blue again. I'm fucking blue again.
It's your
Blue,
jacket.
It's not. It's because you in your scene you've probably got me at the back, like behind a layer or something.
What? No, it's one image. All three of you are on one broadcast screen.
So why am I getting washed out every time? Because it wasn't like that in the call. It isn't like that in the call. It was contrasts completely different.
Sorry.
It looks no different, mate. I've got obviously I've got the Streamlabs is up in the top corner, but I've got a big ass screen right in front of me, and that's what you always look like. It's weird how it changes for you, but we just poked you in the belly.
Hang on.
So yeah, you're all on just one image stream. You're not separated.
Hang on.
You want to set your contrast?
It looks
It's
a bit.
not. It's not that. It's within the window. Everybody else has got normal contrast, and mine's kind of like got like kind of a hue to it, a strange kind of color hue.
Well, I would say that it's basically, have you got a low wattage bulb and you're in a room that's got a lot of dark woods? They're in two rooms that are painted.
No. I took a snapshot before because I was dicking around with the buttons, and I can see straight away that my T-shirt is black when I took the snapshot, and then now I'm seeing kind of like it's washing out. It's weird.
Again, that's
Do you not see that?
No.
I'm bringing up the fucking stream. Oh, the stream's not up yet.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah. Like I say, mate, you've got to, depending on your bulb, but you're in a room with browns and dark colours. There.
No, it's not. You're not getting it.
I am.
Small time.
No, it's on the stream as well.
Yeah, but that's what you look like. Nothing changed.
So that's before the call.
Yeah.
That's what I looked like as well. Yeah.
Yep.
For the other guys as well. I've always looked. It hasn't had the same contrast. Fuck me.
No.
Dashing as ever.
All the test scores we did as well. That's the room that you've always been in. That's the colour that you come out. It looks a lot darker again.
My local monitor of it looks completely normal contrast. You see.
I wonder if your contrast on your monitor is way up.
Are we live?
Yes, we're live.
Oh heck!
It's all right. We're the only people here.
Well, hello everyone. I didn't realise we were live.
YouTube, on the other hand, where thousands of viewers on YouTube are going to be like, these guys, they're just freaks.
Can you not clip it like?
I don't.
I don't for this reason only.
Warts and all. Warts and all. I want it raw, I like it raw.
Be gentle. No.
I've even decided to stop trying to do that whole green screen thing because it makes me look a little bit washed out and shit.
The floating head.
Yeah, tiny floating
Bake up here.
With the white stripes. People have to pay for this shit.
What?
I paid for it with my soul. Never mind. Right. So, for anybody watching or tuning in, well, if you're just tuning in, that's great. But if you tune in 20 minutes, you're going to miss this. But for the YouTubers and the 30 seconds that you stay watching, we have obviously Nevin is missing. Nevin is otherwise occupied, and so for anyone that saw the last episode, the group were separating for a couple of hours to go and organise things, and coming back, and then they were going to go through the sewers to look about entering the Knights of the Eye, their order, through the basement. Obviously, without Nevin, as in Ulmacor, that's going to change. So basically, when the scene starts, or as it does start, you guys have got back, and Ulmacor has excused himself, said that he needs to think on this, that it might be too soon to act against the Knights, and so basically goes upstairs to have a think about the situation, about what's going on with the city, the information he does have, leaving you lot to stay out of trouble. And you are in the Harvest Goose. Leaf, obviously you've organised entrance to the sewers, but it's no longer needed. Then again, I don't suppose Leaf cares that he has to go, and, feels the need to go and explain that he's not showing up tonight. And we've lost Talbot.
Oh, God, what? I literally did nothing.
That's
Didn't even
fine.
touch it.
Wait, literally did nothing. Must have
didn't?
done something. Did you move?
I didn't touch it.
I never said you touched it. I said, did you move?
Shut up.
Are you doing anything now, or are you just sitting waiting for it to come back on?
I don't know.
He's playing rock, paper, scissors with it. Work.
Why does he keep on hiding from the camera?
Oh,
He's like, oh, he's going to talk to me in a minute.
Take
I
it.
don't know why it stopped working. It just turned itself off.
Of course it did.
It freaking did.
Nobody else has this problem. Nobody else's camera just turns off.
I don't understand. Why would it turn off? It's plugged in.
Right. Are you just staring at it, willing it to come back on, or are you clicking on options?
I'm clicking on options.
Which options?
Audio and video settings.
I think you're like a chicken cottage.
I'll take the 6 strips, please. Some nuggets.
And a zinger burger.
You tried turning it off and on.
Yes.
Tried plugging it back in.
Come on. I've tried plugging it in. Tried plugging it out. In, out. I do not know. Yeah, the camera's completely gone off.
I tried in a different USB hole.
check.
Try another hole.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she said.
You're disgusting. Horrible. Wait there, I'm trying another slot. Nothing. Why would the power not be on? Why? Why would you do this to me? Dear Lord. Ah! Being attacked by a hound. Hello. Why would the webcam just die? Why?
Do you know how to check the settings in Skype?
Mm-hmm.
Is it
I'm
showing?
clicking. Nope. Just off. Even the laptop one's not working either.
Try disconnecting the call, going back to your audio settings and see if it picks it up then, and then rejoin the call.
Okay. Un momento.
I'll be back.
Take the belt with you.
So, Assassin's Creed then.
Which one?
I do enjoy the games, like, but I don't know. They tend to be a bit too easy with the loot. You know what I mean? You get like shit tons of kind of like crap loot. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'd rather every weapon I picked up was actually something worth having. You know what I mean? And the rest of it was just money.
Yeah.
Just feels like it's trying to slow you down towards the end, you know, just by picking up a lot of crap off the ground. They like killing kids in this one, mind. Bloody hell.
Yeah. Let's see. Stop. Oh. God.
It's the early days of the Order or something, and
Yeah.
they tend to just fucking kill people like willy-nilly, and it's kind of like they keep on making loads of enemies.
Especially the crocodiles. Yeah. Swim, swim, swim. Bite.
Yeah, there's these odd little quests or little things where kind of you find people who've like sacrificed themselves to kind of like animal gods or whatever. And said, "Let me roam with the lions and let us roam." And then other people kind of there's a one in the swamp for the crocodiles, and they kind of like there's a crocodile there, right? And it's completely tame.
Yeah.
There he is. So I think I wrecked the line before I had a chance to kind of like.
Was somebody flossing there?
I don't know what he was doing.
Hello.
Hello.
Aussie?
So I don't know what happened there.
You touched the equipment?
Did not. Just me today.
You didn't touch the equipment, you're just touching yourself. Is that what you just said?
Yes, that's what you just said.
No.
I'm not touching the equipment, I'm just touching me today.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
It has been recorded.
Right. So before you break it again, let's see how long we can get into this.
I'd like to see how I get blamed for everything.
Because nobody else has this problem.
I don't know why I have this problem. Just can't explain.
Right. Stinks. So, about 8 PM, night of the 4th. Obviously, I know Leaf's been here a lot longer. Renyir a couple of months. So we're going from the whole Arnung and Ulmacor concept, just to have an idea of, from day zero when you first arrived, the amount of bodies you've dropped and the problems you've caused for the city's sewer system. Effectively, you go back to the Harvest Goose. There's a couple of minstrels playing. The place is lively as it usually is. Night has fallen. Yeah. These are at your table, Arnung. Ulmacor's retired. He's just literally left the room, and you guys are now sitting, wondering what to do. Effectively, do you sit and have a couple of drinks? Are you going to go off and cause some trouble? Yeah. That's where we are.
I think we sit at the table and get some, have some drinks and discuss. Don't think we're going to cause trouble. We're too long in the tooth for that kind of thing. My old friend.
Just going to interrupt you. You can see that you're fiddling. You can see that you actually, as soon as you start you start messing with cables.
Just moving things. I'm moving the piece of paper so I can get it.
He's not, is he? He's not.
Shut up! You can't see the piece of paper. Look, it's here.
Oh, it's gone off again. Where's my audio gone? I did nothing. Mr. McTwitchy.
The mouse isn't even anywhere near me.
Anyway, but you're moving.
So, So you're sitting. So Arnung's sitting at the table and rocking backwards and forwards, hitting it so that the camera constantly goes in and out.
No, I'm sitting at the table.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
I don't even know what I was saying now, because you
You were too busy fiddling.
always rudely interrupt when I'm in the floor.
Sorry to stop your money shot.
Why would you say shit like that? Oh, why? Why?
Did you get it in the eye?
I did. Burns.
Those vinegar strokes are difficult.
Right. Okay. So we're at the table. So tell me, Renyir, what do we have? Clearly, going to the sewers is something that I was against. It's clearly suicide, and I'm glad Framling came to his senses.
Has he?
I hope he has, because there's no way in Tal's Earth that I'm going in there, especially unprepared. I mean, what do we know about this witch? Is he a witch? Is he not a witch? Who gives a fuck? Do you know if he's a witch? Do you care? Right now, I get it's important, but we have, I believe there's other options we can explore.
Yeah. Well, they said, well, the orator said Sigmar were controlling the knights. And Werner Stoltz is one of the head priests of the Sigmar Church here. And it is rumoured that he answers to Gobels, Herr Goebbels.
So he answers to Goebbels.
Rumoured.
Leaf?
Yeah, I don't like that idea, actually.
Do you know much about this priest? What are we dealing with?
Not about the priest, but I know about her Goebbels. He's not a man to be messed with, like.
No, I don't intend to stand and step on too many toes while I'm here. I understand how these things work. So I think it's
it depends on how you approach the priest, really. I mean, we can figure out a way of approach where we're just. I mean, I don't know. Do priests drink?
You think they...
I drink. I'm not a priest. Doesn't answer your question.
I mean, what questions do you have for the priest? I mean, what are you trying to find out?
Renyir, why is this priest important? Understands he works for Goebbels? Is he?
He works in the Sigmar Temple, so he believes he's one of the main people in the temple there. So if those knights are rumored to be connected to the Temple of Sigmar, then he might know what the orders are, or what that other witch that's been captured looks like.
So, what information do we have right now? So, this order of knights, the Knights of Sigmar, whatever they call themselves, are burning witches.
Yeah,
the witch hunters. And from my own understanding, if these guys are innocent, they're nobodies. Is that right, Leaf?
Sorry, I drifted off there. I wasn't really listening to what you were saying. I was trying to think of kind of like what line of question or how an in towards the priest. I mean, we can at least take a look at the guy, can't we?
We can.
Doesn't have to be kind of like in any official stance, but we could kind of like creep up on the guy, have a look, see where he is, get a feel for him, and then maybe he's just an idiot and we can ask some questions. I doubt he's an idiot, but he might be boastful. I mean, what does he have vices? What can we work against?
He seems to be like he gets all the information through his sermons of all the high, rich, and well-to-do people in the city, and passes the information on to goals. From what I gather.
So you're saying he's a master of whispers?
Well, where else is best placed to whisper in the church?
Well, the thing is, Renyir, maybe we should lead with that next time. Fuck's sake. Okay. So we have a priest, a master of whispers. It's a start. Now we need a story. So I want to go in there hard. I think we should break him in slowly. What do you think?
Break him in slowly. You got away with words. Yeah, I think if we at least get our eyes on the guy. I mean, if he's a master of whisperers, as you call, that might be a problem because he's probably got spies everywhere. So I'm hoping that he's a bit more simple than that. But I definitely think we should kind of like think of something kind of like, well, what do we actually want to achieve, you know? And we want to know what's going on in the temple without rising suspicious of ourselves. I mean, maybe Renyir's kind of like he's a young boy, maybe he's looking to join the Sigmarites and just fancies a tour. I don't know, is that a possibility?
Why would he care? A 15-year-old.
15-year-old's like a soldier, innit? I mean, put a sword in anyone's hand and they're a useful tool. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a Sigmarite, so I don't exactly know how they go on with their recruitment, but I'm guessing kind of like young men are kind of like a starting point. Maybe that's the way in. Renyir goes and asks how to join up to be a Sigmarite.
And then what? What we need to know is find out about the Brotherhood, the Knights.
Well, yeah, but surely that's part of it, isn't it? Because he's seen these guys wandering around town and he likes the cut of that jib and off they go and he wants to join up and suddenly there's a priest there to ask and get some information from. He can ask the questions about the Brotherhood openly because he's interested in being one of them. It's a reasonable cover.
Okay. And if that doesn't work? Then we still have nothing. Okay, Renyir, why don't you find out why does this priest reside in the temple? Does he stay there? Do you know that? Do we have that information?
I don't have that information. I just know he's at the temple most of the days.
Oh, okay, so let's start with that. Let's find out if he resides at the temple or does he leave the temple? And then we could start with that. And then I'll pay him a little visit and have a chat.
So best off just going in the morning then, when the temple's open.
The temple's open 24 hours a day. Everybody knows that. Just to step in, nobody in the Empire would think that the temple would shut for the night. It doesn't happen.
What time of day is it now?
Round about
8.
8:30 p.m. Yeah.
Okay.
So they would have like a evening mass and that.
None of you are Sigmarites. This is the city of the White Wolf in Ulrican, so you haven't really spent that much time around the temple or have any interest in it. Like I say, very large city. You can't know everything and be involved in everything, and none of you are actual Sigmarites, so it would be of zero interest to you. But it is open. That one, you live crossed by the main temples are always going to be open. The Temple of Shalia of Healing, Ulrich. Obviously, it's the eternal flame in the center of the city's worship. You've got Sigmarite, the patron deity of the Empire. So the major, temples are always going to be available.
Mm. I think we should go. I think we should pay him a visit at night.
Yeah, I think we should go now.
We should go now. If he is truly the master of whisperers, then he's going to want something. Information can be bought.
I'd rather have leverage on him, Nick.
A loaded silence apparently descends upon the table. You stare forlornly into your drinks, suddenly incapable of coming to a decision or action.
I'm thinking.
A guy walks past and sort of stops, puts his hand across your face. You blink. He walks off into the crowd.
Tell me you tell.
Now, what information I will actually... See, I don't know exactly what your mission is, Arnung, so you're going to have to enlighten us. I mean, is the kind of like the whole point of you being here is to find this guy in the dungeon? If that's the case, then kind of like, well, that's what we should be focused. But kind of like, if that's not the mission, what is the mission? What information are we trying to find out, and who we're going after?
The mission is to find out where the threat lies.
Where the threat lies.
The threat to the Empire, where that lies. And I want to know if these Knights of Sigmar are a threat to the Empire. And the only way we're going to know that is if we ask questions.
Nah, the Sigmarites themselves aren't a threat to the Empire. I mean, they're part of the Empire, but I mean, there may be kind of like a few individuals within it, as in rotten apples, which might be a threat, what you could construe as a threat to the Empire, yeah.
And these rotten apples is what I want to find, Leaf.
Yeah, okay. So would the priest know, though?
Why don't we start with what he may know about Lucas Werns, the commander? Let's go straight to the head. We get leverage on that man, then who knows what we can do.
It's easier to get leverage on a priest than it is a knight, you know. They're generally rougher men with less to prove than a priest.
Is there anything else, Renyir, about the priest? Other than that,
that's all I have on the priest.
Okay. So let's go and pay him a visit at the temple.
Do you want to lead with the Renyir asking questions on how to become a knight? See if that gives us an in, and then we can join in afterwards. And be concerned for him, or at least kind of like ask him a few questions of our own. They may. I mean, I'm guessing that the Sigmarites have the same kind of drive that drives the Brotherhood, and seek out a rot and kill it. But if there's something in amongst them, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're all in on it. You know what I mean? We need to kind of like figure out a way of kind of like identifying at least a couple. I mean, do we have any clues?
Oh, the knights are all from Carburg, so I don't think.
Oh well, then guilty.
When he said that, of course, you guys know he's made a slight mistake. They've come in from Carburg, but you've been told
court sanctioned.
So the court, the royal court, the Emperor's court, is in Carburg, and seeing that they've all come from Carburg is technically right. But you'd also both of you know already, and this is not information you would be confused with. None of them are from Carburg. They're specifically from every corner of the Empire. They were just brought together at the court, sanctioned by the Grand Theogenist. This is information you have found out. You know it's fresh. Grand Theogenist, which is the high priest of the Sigmarite cult itself, he's in Carburg with the Emperor. Anton Sachs was involved, who's the main advisor to the Emperor. All three of them sanctioned him, hence the crown that they have on their tabards. The Eye is the significant icon of their order. They've been sent to Middenheim, they're nowhere else, to root out the witch. Yep, that is a given, absolute concrete information. But the knights themselves, the 10 of them that you've seen, and the Lord Commander, they look, sound, you've been close enough when they're in the street. They are not from Midland. They're not from Nordland. They are, you can see that they're from the deep south, they're from the west, the east. They are a mix of people that have been brought together, sanctioned, and they are knights. These are not guys that are just dressed up for the show. So they've come from various different military backgrounds. They've been knighted, and they've been sent in to destroy the witch. And they've all exhibited the ability, apparently in public, to see the corruption. And even though specifically you've been here longer, Leaf, but Renyir will have seen it a bit less because he was told to avoid them. You've been in the city itself. You have never actually seen them beyond leaving the barracks to go to the literally 20 foot to the burning pyre, and then they go back in again. It was brought up about 2 hours beforehand, as in last week, but it was brought up that until you were asked, you hadn't really thought about it, but you've never seen them wandering the streets. However, several hours before that, Renyir did see 2 members come, before they came out with the orator, 2 members of the knighthood who headed north into the Nord Garden area, which is where you are currently.
Torturers.
And you identified them through the orator, their colours, and the fact that who were those guys that left you. They are torturers of the knighthood. Specifically, that's their skill set. Yeah, because they had the red surcoat with the black eye and the golden crown. Obviously, the orator was not a member of the knighthood. He didn't wear the uniform, and he was clearly just a spokesperson recruited locally. But you don't know where they're getting their people from, how they're finding them. However, you, Renyir and Arnung, witnessed them zero in on Framling and chase him off down the street.
Yeah.
Okay, so on one side you've got evidence or proof that they seem to be able to sense something or see something that gets their attention, but you've got no other evidence to indicate who they're actually picking up or how at this point in counting they've burned 60 people in the last 3 months regularly, burn 5 people every week. Right?
So we need leverage on the priest. That's what we need.
It would be nice. I mean, he might be an honest man and it might be difficult to get, but if he's not, it's still kind of like it gives us an idea on kind of what kind of man he is. He might be precisely what we're looking for, but we need some form of in. So kind of like, I mean, I think we should get there and play it by ear, try and feel him out a bit first. That's why I thought with the Renyir kind of like basically
You can attend
ask
one
them
of the
blunt
services.
questions. Yeah, maybe attend one of the services, and then afterwards, kind of like you can approach them. We can wander over, engage them in conversation, see what information we can glean from that there at least.
Okay. One way or another, we're going to have to go to this temple, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we go to the temple. We go now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So we all Arnung stands, I stand, and we make our way.
Finish off your drinks and you leave the Harvest Goose. I'm assuming that you're going to go with the direct approach. You don't feel the need to try to attract attention by hiding in shadows and slipping into
No.
alleyways. You're just going to walk up the road, yeah?
Don't think there's any need, no.
Well, you yeah,
I just walk in his shadow.
you take a right out of the Harvest Goose and cut down behind the building itself. It's not an alleyway, it's just the fastest route. You get to the main northern thoroughfare, walk a short distance before taking a right onto the eastern path. You go or you walk past the Square of Marshals, and even from here you can see the well-lit Palace District across the gated thoroughfare, and the remarkably large amount of guys in full plate mail guarding the Palace District. It's quite intimidating to see, but the streets are well lit. You are obviously in a very well-to-do area with a huge military presence, but you still see that there's a fair few members of the public just walking around, normal civilians, well-dressed hand in hand, lovers walking and enjoying the early evening. You can hear the odd music playing out from several establishments that are opening at this time of night. You note the Temple of Verena as you pass it by, and eventually enter in the Freeburg. After 20-25 minutes of casual walking, you attract no attention, and it is fairly still crowded as you are close to the northeast gate. The temple itself is a large, grim-looking building, facing into the palace gardens. Even though they are public gardens, obviously only people of wealth and good breeding will enter here. There's a good amount of standing militia nearby, going out on patrol, but there's still an air of relaxation. There is no sound coming from the temple. There's no music. It is a grim place. Bear in mind that the Sigmarites are as close to the Dowie as you can be, and it reflects that. The temple, which you have seen several times, you realise, you've seen this before. It faces north, and you can see that there is a western eastern sort of square buildings that flank a very large, long western east sort of entrance areas of this temple are long buildings with a central square area with a big dome. The front is approached by a wide double staircase, and the gates are open. Large white pillars, grey pillars, flank the open doorway. You can clearly see the well-lit main chamber, and even from the outside looking in, you can see the large raised altar, on top of which the ancient sign of Sigmar. It's kind of losing a little bit of sway. You'll recognise what it is, but it's not as common as it used to be, which is two superimposed squares forming an octagon with its corners. Each point is covered in a circle, indicating the unification of the 8 tribes 1,100 years ago. That sits across the centre of the altar. Behind, you can see the lower muscular legs of a golden statue. You know it to be a very huge, very large statue of Sigmar holding a two-handed warhammer, equally just as common to the Sigmarites. The temple is empty, and typical of a Sigmarite church, it is devoid of all pews, all chairs. Worshippers are meant to stand or kneel on the cold dwarven cut stone. There is little comfort afforded to the Sigmarites. Stepping through, it's well lit with wall torches, large lights hang from the vaulted domed ceiling, and you see there are several doors. You pass several doors on the way in, but you stand upon the threshold looking at this huge open room, and a young man approaches. in the white robes, very plain white robes. There's nothing else on it. There's no adornment except for these two squares. By the way, you know what I mean when it's superimposed, as in the squares are at an angle of each other, therefore creating 8 points, which are then surrounding them. That's on his chest, in a slightly darker, like a grey thread, just giving it enough of a highlight to be noticeable. He, on seeing you standing there, he approaches quietly. Good evening.
I nod. Good evening.
Can I be of assistance?
I hope you can. We were hoping to speak with Werner Salz.
He blanches visibly when you say the name. You see him literally go like, "Oh, you mean the High Capitular?"
The High Capitular. Is there a problem?
He is the High Priest of Sigmar for the North and the Midland. You do not refer to him as Werner Stolz.
Oh, pardon me. It's been a while since I've been in the presence of priesthood.
He looks back at you. How?
How?
How's it been a while since you've been in the presence of a priesthood? You're clearly not a Sigmarite, but which god do you follow?
Tal.
And does Tal not have priests, high priests, initiates, junior clerics?
What's your point?
I think you're being deliberately rude.
Oh, I don't. That's the way I am. I'm from the north.
So am I, and there's no excuse. I think you should take a moment and I'll come back after you've had a chance to think about your conduct. If you can't continue in a correct manner, you can leave. Your friends, you of course are welcome to continue in. Please. And he
Thank you.
walks away.
Just stand there with me stand there with me pint. What?
Go stand over there.
Okay. What just happened?
He walks a bit
Told
further.
off.
He walks in and takes a moment to kneel by the raised altar, then turns round. I assume that you followed him, or have you stayed back with...
Yeah, I followed him.
Perhaps we could try again without your rather rude friend, who does smell of alcohol, I have to admit. While he takes a moment to think about his conduct, is there anything that I can do for you, gentlemen? It is rare for 3 people to just walk in and stand. You didn't seem to marvel at our temple itself. I sense that there is perhaps a reason for you to be here.
Well, we're discussing kind of like Sigma in the pub, and Renyir here was asking about how you have the kind of like the nights and stuff, and he's seen these nights out on the streets, and he was asking how to become one, basically. I mean, I'm guessing he's just feeling out the kind of like a place in the order, trying to put himself somewhere in life, you know.
Well, it is a strange one. The Order of the Hammer are our, I suppose, they are our brothers that go out into the world. They bring not only the word of Sigma to the heathen, but also are our guardians. They will spend the time travelling with us when we need to move from city to city. They are our military, as it were. The knights, which I think you refer to, this sanctioned knighthood that's coming from Karaborg, they don't actually answer to the Sigmarite Church. They are a special group. I can't help you if that's who you are referring to.
A special group. I thought they were just like Sigmarite Knights.
Well, they are Knights of Sigma, but they are not of the traditional 3 orders that make up the church. They are a special group that's been formed by the Grand Theogenist, may Sigma bless his name. But they do not answer to the High Capitular or this church. Just one moment. He walks by, approaches Arnung. I hope you've had a chance to think about your conduct, and you're willing to step into the House of Sigma. with a clear mind and respect.
Of course.
Please follow me.
Follow.
He walks back towards them, towards Leaf and Renyir. As I was just saying to your friend here, the knights themselves are not literally of any connection with us. The Grand Theologist has put this special group together, and there is little interaction. There are a few of them that will worship here, but they follow a far more older path. I think that's how it feels to us, anyway. They do, not the way that the cult has transformed itself to be more open to the masses, but they seem to follow what they consider to be a more direct line from Sigmar himself.
Hmm.
So how do they find so many witches?
By the light of Sigmar, no doubt.
I mean, I would say kind of like, I mean, throughout my life, I've always kind of like looked for that corruption and to report it, you know? And yet they've turned up here in 3 months. They've killed over 60 people, you know? I'm just wondering how they're finding all these witches when we've lived among them for so long.
Sigmar obviously shines upon them. They are special people that have been brought together by the Grand Theologist. I can't comment because I simply don't have the knowledge that you seek.
Right.
Perhaps the High Capitular would help you if you are having a moment of crisis.
Moment of crisis.
I think we are having a crisis.
If we are surrounded by the darkness that these sainted men are able to show, then it is and can be a time of reflection and a crisis, both spiritually. And though you are obviously followers of Tal, we all, even the brutes of Ulrich, recognise that there are many deities. The pantheon is long and just. Ulrich himself raised Sigmar up to godhood, and we all recognise Tal as one of the father of gods and the ancestors. We do not forget our place, as I'm sure that you won't. I shall see if the High Capitular is available. At least, perhaps, Brother Mario. Because you are asking questions above my ability. I am just a mere initiate. But please, if you would like to... in fact, no, it is rude of me. Please, come back. And he starts walking towards the doorway. Assuming you're following.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to the doorway, the main open door onto the street itself, you do the two doors on the left and right, a single door on each side that you notice coming in. He opens one door and there's a table and several chairs in there. He takes a brazier from not the whole thing, a torch from the wall, lights some candles. Please, the window, you can see out through the window onto the main street. Please make yourself comfortable. I will see if somebody of more learning can attend you.
Okay, thank you.
Goes back out, you see him hang it up. He leaves the door slightly open. You get no sense that this is, he's going to lock the door and set fire to you in some kind of cult worship. But you are sitting in this small room. There is no affectation. There is no adornment. There's nothing comfortable about it. It is as functional as a military barracks. Do you sit in silence? Or do you poke fun at Arnung?
I said with the table between me and Arnung. I say, in the corner. Uh-huh.
Does it feel like a place that you just naturally whisper?
Yes,
absolutely. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to break the dour silence.
Yeah, even
the pure misery hanging in the air.
Yeah. Oh, this is a great place of worship. There is no joy here, only suffering.
Like, if you want to be bored for the rest of your life, join up with the Sigmarites.
After some time, a shadow appears at the doorway. A large, elderly man, obviously once incredibly well built, has still kept himself in shape, but he is getting on a bit. His hair has gone to grey. Emblazoned is a brand on his forehead, which is the the brand of Sigmar, this the superimposed squares. It's an old scar. Um, it's been branded into a weathered face. You can see there's several whiter lines of scarring tissue around his face, partially to his lips. This is an old veteran. He comes in and he's wearing the white robes. It's got a blazoned across it. You see that there is a torch that seems to highlight a large warhammer around it, or green like wreath. He as he just opens the door itself and steps in, you can feel the willpower, the presence of this man immediately. Talites, what do I owe this pleasure? At this time of night.
A bow. High capitulator.
Yes?
We were hoping to seek some knowledge.
I've obviously been told. I wouldn't have been in the
We
room itself if my men had just come along and said there's 3 guys standing in a room waiting for me. I'm just curious why members of self-professed worshippers of Tal have come in inquiring about the soldiers of Sigmar. I understand that you're thinking the young lad, but I've never in all my years seen 2 Tal worshippers bring in one of their younglings.
Well, I mean, we're not people to force our beliefs on others. I believe everybody has their own path. Just because I meet somebody can kind of like and think and like they'd be good for kind of like my path. Yeah, great, but I mean, I don't think this boy is anywhere near the path of Tal. But I do believe he should be given purpose.
Good answer. What should I call you, friend?
I'm Leaf.
Right.
I am Arnung, and this is Renyir.
He pulls a seat round. He sits down. He's obviously, like I say, he's an old boy, but he's a warrior. You can tell by the way that he physically sits upon the table. The table, yeah. Ha! Oh, that was unexpected. He sits on the chair. There's that relaxed sort of. I've seen that. I've done that. Yeah, he basically just relaxes, puts his hands on the table. So, as you were no doubt told, the knights are from the Grand Theogenist himself. We have no interaction with them, though we have had several of their members here. So our information is limited. They are an outside force, brought in specifically. We do not, though it is apparently something that we should consider, we do not hunt the witch. But perhaps in our future there is something along those lines.
It's just unusual to happen. I mean, I've been here for years, and I've never seen this kind of corruption before. I mean, kind of like to me, I'm concerned that kind of like people are getting roped into situations, and I'm trying to understand how they know they're witches. Do you understand me perspective? I mean, kind of like, are they making people kind of like guilty by association? Are these normal people kind of like who are a bit odd, or how do they prove they're witches? Apart from forced confession, I want to know really to kind of like to do my part as well. If they have a secret to kind of like identifying witches, it might be useful for everyone to know.
I do see your concern. It is something that I've thought upon myself. Generally, you recognise the enemy before you, and you can bring the light of Sigma towards them, or whatever means that you have available to you. But there's really not a thing I can tell you about these knights. After all, you're not even Sigmarites. And though we do have a school here, I'm not Well, we teach Sigmarite children many things, from etiquette to heraldry to combat, depending on the way that they lean towards which of the orders they are best suited towards. But he would be quite old to be joining our school.
I thought he might be a bit old, but
Well, we generally take them on at 8 and they normally leave by the time they're 13. But of course, we would never turn a child away from a Sigmarite family. How old are you, boy?
15.
15? Well, in which case, no, there's nothing we can do here.
disappointing.
It's strange because you look a lot younger. Otherwise, I would have been able to discuss it more with you. But yes, gentlemen, I mean, I'm obviously more than happy to help, but where I can, perhaps you should seek guidance from your own church, see if Tal will show you the way, or perhaps even approach the knights themselves, ask if you can be of service to them.
Yeah, possibly. I would like to know those tricks though. If they're banishing to scoop even Tal worshippers up, people known to us as kind of like as devout people, and yet they've been scooped up as witches. It's very confusing.
Tal has no church here in Midland, in Midnheim. You didn't say Midland, in Midnheim. And you are clearly of the area. Are you just a follower of Tal? It's strange to find people that living in the city to be followers. It must be a small number. But the wording that you just used there, devout, you're not of some form of church. You're not a druid.
No, but I mean, there's still you can still be devout and not be part of the kind of like an organized church. I mean, people do worship out in the middle of nowhere where there's few worshippers.
That's actually the realm of Tal. The city isn't.
Mm.
So it's
Well,
strange that
I
you would
mean,
find
some of us find ourselves in cities though.
But to find a devout worshipper of Tal being, as you say, picked up.
That's as far as I know. That's the situation, isn't it?
Not that I'm aware.
I think he's still in the dungeon, as far as I know. I don't know his name though. I think we still got him.
Well, you can't be.
Maybe that's. Well, I don't know him very well. I just happen to know because obviously, kind of like he's a fellow worshipper of Tal. Now, I find it's unusual for someone who I clearly knew as a kind of like a pious person suddenly be kind of like grabbed by the Sigmarite order and kept prisoner pending execution. Which is why I'm asking questions about their ability to prove whether they're witches or not.
Well, the vast majority of the people by the association and location are Ulricans, so they've come under some pressure there. But there are no doubt Sigmarites as well. You know, the witch is a deceiver. The witch is a dark dissent and will hide behind half truths and lies.
But surely they would have gotten the information out. He's been there months. If he's not a witch and he's saying he's not a witch, then why haven't they let him go? Or if he has confessed to being a witch, why haven't they killed him? I don't understand the delay. It's just unusual.
I have no comment on that. I have no information that could help you sleep at night or find your path. I'm just going to have to pause you there because either Arnung has decided to have a staring competition with himself.
Can you still hear me? Am I frozen?
I can hear you, but you have literally just stopped moving.
I don't know why it's frozen. I think the screensaver or something came on and the camera went off and it came back on and now it's just frozen. Damn, yo.
You broke video again, haven't you?
You turn that screensaver off then.
Yeah. He's just taking a picture of himself and just stuck it there.
At least it's not actually too offensive as an image. You know, at least he didn't freeze with one eye half shut in a blink sort of thing, so he looked like he was having a stroke. Are you gonna... And he's gone.
That's why.
I'm back.
Yeah, he's back. He learned how to fix
Is that
it.
working?
Yeah.
Oh, something happened to the network.
Oh,
Ah.
the network now.
I,
Was it my fault?
I poked around for a bit and it's back on.
He's broke the computer.
I haven't broke anything. It's fine. It's totally fine. Look, it's working.
You poked around for a bit.
It's working.
Accidentally hit remove from call. Right. Yeah, so you're back. Yeah, no, he's either he's got a fantastic poker face. He's not showing any emotion, or you're not picking up on any. He's gone again. And you're back. You know, he's not angered by your questioning. He seems to be showing, you know, he seems to be talking to you in a sort of a matter of fact. But clearly, he's not giving you anything to work with.
Hmm.
Now, in a moment, we're just going to go out of the game for a second. Just bear this in mind that Renyir has basically said that this is a guy that's involved in intelligence. He's involved with Goebbels. He is the high priest of the Sigmarite Church in the north, which is Nordland, your province, as well as Midland. That puts him at a very high level. This is not just a small parish priest. Yeah, and obviously a veteran. He obviously used to be one of those guys that went off slapping people around. But he didn't seem to flicker or show any emotion at all. But clearly, you have identified a group of highly trained Sigmarite witch hunting killers have been sanctioned by the High Priest, the Grand Theogenist, and put in his domain, and yet self-professed has no control over them and no interaction with them. That in itself is he seems to be too calm and cool. You would think that there's got to be, being a high priest and being a devout man is one thing, but to rise into this sort of level also shows there's a political level in the man.
Yeah, I was hoping he'd have a whine about it.
Yeah, but he is being very distinctly. He's not giving anything away.
Hmm.
This is obviously stuff that'll be going through your mind as you've been talking.
Yeah.
I don't expect you've had a moment there to go, and you sort of stare at each other in a darkened room for a while. I just wanted to get.
No, we understand that. Yeah.
Do you know any of these knights?
Not personally.
No.
Some of them have been here. Not all of the order takes it upon themselves to come to the temple.
What's your take on them? What they're like?
The devout Sigmarite worshippers, they have a clear path set before them, and they are doing their best. What they are mortals, and like all mortals, set upon a difficult path, they can be troubled by it.
Hmm.
They're very pious men.
Do Sigmarites drink?
Well, they're allowed to if you're asking if it's something that's against our order.
All
Do you
right, no.
drink?
I got.
What I miss?
Did you drink? Or do you drink?
I'll partake. Not as much as I used to. I'm not a young man anymore, like yourself.
No. It looks like you've seen a few battles.
I have. I might, but and now we've just lost Ivan.
The leaf's in the wind.
Coming back in?
Come on. Is he back?
He's
Oh.
back.
What happened there?
You just went off.
That's
It's
it. Ended
done.
the call.
It's this priest. Since we've
Yeah.
come to this
Ha!
temple,
Every time you ask a question, I see Blur's back on. Every
No
time
problem.
you ask a question he doesn't want to answer, he just turns you off.
off.
You all walk out saying, so all we've done is we've come out with a dose of narcolepsy. I didn't even know that was something you could catch. On my path to enlightenment and bringing the word of Sigma to all aspects, to all members of the Empire and beyond, I have had my share of conflict. But I
Tell me,
was Order of the
where-
Hammer, and we would root out and destroy goblinoids, the servants of the void, and those who use and corrupt wherever they may hide.
So you've seen a lot of death.
Yes,
How have you ever lost somebody
of course.
close to you?
I've lost brothers. The conflict is eternal. We fought during the Skaven Wars. We fought the bandits and the creatures that lurk. We helped cleanse the Ostland when we had to take it back during the rebuilding under Manfred.
7 years.
That was the Skaven Wars you refer to. Well, yes, I was a much younger man.
I was there.
I think everybody was that is of our age.
How did you deal with loss? You said you've lost brothers. How did you deal with that loss?
They did. They fought. They bore true allegiance to His Majesty. We aided the Dowie and we obeyed orders. It's very easy, as long as you stick to our few tenets, to, when you fall, move through Morr's realm and then find yourself by Sigmar's side. I do not look at them as lost brothers. I do not grieve them for long, because they are now in a better place, able to do our Lord's work. I have been here a lot longer. I have survived because Sigmar wills it. It is not a punishment to go this long. I do not suffer concern or worry for the loss of friends. The slow withering of the disease, these cause pain at the time of this mortal plane, but once they pass, as long as they've been true, they are beside Sigmar now. Tal teaches about the entire circle of life. Do you profess to having concerns, having issues dealing with the loss of friend and family?
Yes.
I think perhaps you need to go to one of your shrines and take some time to reconnect. The old faith is a hard faith. But unlike Sigmarites, where we're taught to live and to fight the enemy, Tal, and as children, you'll gladly sacrifice yourself for the old faiths, don't you?
Absolutely. I swear an oath. I swore an oath. I live by that oath. I'm probably going to die by that.
As we all will. Those of us that fight in the faith. But again, I get the impression that you are not just mere followers of Tal, you are more involved with his worship.
Perhaps.
You more than others.
Perhaps. Yeah, perhaps you don't just fight wars and conquer lands.
Well, none of us should ever conquer lands, my friend. I'm not aware of any of the deities that demand conquering of lands.
I'm not talking about deities. I'm talking about those that run the cities, the lands. How do they get in those positions of power? Is it the deities that got them there? Or is it the people that they surround themselves in? I know a thing or two. I've been around. I have built the North, Nordland, my home.
That's a very grand claim.
I am Arnung of Nordland. I am Grant.
I did not know that I was in the presence of unrecognised royalty, the hero of Nordland, the scourge of the scathed and Norsai. I also hear of darker tales said about you.
There's a lot of darkness.
Why
Perhaps
do you
there's some time for me to see the light. But right now, I need to understand that the man, the high priest, that is you, who works for Gorbals, who is clearly the master of whisperers, and I understand that as a man from the north, from the Nordland, who built the north, fought the Skaven, fought out the Norsai, built an empire of his own, knows how this shit works, and I need answers. I know you're the man who's going to give me those answers.
Am I?
There's got to be something you want.
And do you think that you can give it to me? You are
I'm the
already
king of,
quite far away from home.
I'm the king of the north. Shut up! There's no reference there whatsoever to a known show.
Where's your wolf?
Aye, and here's my wolf.
It's a stag. Or a small deer. That's fucking Bambi.
Get him, Timmy.
You got a small stag called Timmy. Get him, Timmy.
His deal's Timmy. He'll have you.
You've just stuck some antlers. You've stuck some antlers on a small dog.
Chihuahua.
Shut up. We're having a moment there till you laughed and sniggered like a stupid boy.
Tell me, Arnung, did you rehearse that speech?
Yes.
You've been just waiting for somebody to say it to. And you thought, now's my time.
Now is my time.
You're not in Nordland.
No, I understand that. But I also understand how information, how to get information, and who to speak to. I have my own contact in the north, but I understand I'm not in the north. I understand that you're the man that I need to speak to. I respect that. I respect what you do. You are in a position of power.
I am hardly the master of whisperers, king of the north.
But I think you know a lot more than you're letting on.
You have me curious. Ask you a direct question. I won't guarantee that I'll give you the answer you want, but if it serves me, perhaps I will. But I will call upon a favour at some point, and I will expect you to fulfill it.
Okay.
So, if it serves me well, I will give you your information. You wanted to know about the knighthood. Well,
We
that
want.
is true. I know very little about the knighthood itself. It has been put here by the Grand Theogenist. At this point, you do sense a snap to the title, the way he says it. There's a sense of, the way he mentions it now, he's clearly let himself, let his front drop a little bit. There's a distinct sort of snap to the Grand Theogenist. Not
Was
quite as
you
much as that.
disgusted? Is it disgust?
No, more just
No?
angered.
Anger.
At, somebody that's you kind of you can easily sense that it's a guy that's a distant commander involved himself in the High Capitula's world. The Grand Theogenist has put these people here. At first, we suspected that there might be something to do with the Grand Theogenist looking towards investigating our temple here and our line of worship. Clearly, they have got no interest in us. The people that have worshipped here, that come here for absolution, are the torturers. It is their particular skill set, and they are somewhat troubled by what has been going on in the barracks. They come here generally following a cleansing show, a burning of the witches. But they have, well, one of them is here just earlier, the other one hasn't. Oliver and I forgot his name. Why does everything go missing when I need it? Reynald and Oliver. You have just missed Reynald. It was, yeah, well, it would have turned out as you were sitting talking to young Jurgen. This Burroughs fella, he, from what I now know, yes, you're correct. He's looking at you, Leaf. You are correct. He was a Talite worshipper. He has been instrumental in working with not only the palace, but various other enterprises, the haulage companies, coaches, etc. He had a way with animals. He was arrested by Sir Lucas not long after his arrival based on information provided by Kunzhauser. Now, based on these confessions that Reynald and Oliver, they managed to get a name, which is Ulmacor, and apparently information on some Brotherhood of the Stag. So they are clearly targeting, based on what I understood, their information to be Burroughs' connections with this Brotherhood. I've never heard of them, and I've been around. Apparently he would not admit to void worship, and therefore witchcraft, and therefore he will not be cleansed. I understand that they sent word to Karaborg, and they have since been visited several times by Albrecht Zimmerman, who, much to Reynald and Oliver's unease, he seemed to have some kind of influence over Sir Lucas.
Albrecht Zimmerman.
The High Priest of Morr. At first it was believed by Reynald that he was there to issue last rites over the dead, but Boris is clearly not dead. And everybody, according to the priests of Morr, from the foul and the worshippers of the void to the highest amongst us, have to have last rites. They have to face judgment in Morr's gate. Even the witches that they burnt have been given last rites. They have passed on from this mortal realm, and if they are, as you might believe or suspect, not guilty of any witchcraft crimes, well, they're still going to be in a better place. They've given off this mortal realm, so we should not worry ourselves with what has been done. It's in whose name, perhaps, we should be. But it's beyond me and my scope to deal with.
So are they just waiting for information back before they release them? I'm
No,
guessing
he will
kind
not
of
be
like that.
released. He will not be released. Apparently a representative from the court has been dispatched. He'll be here in, well, I think just about a week from now. Some specialist. John Aru seemed to be a name that caused a little bit of concern amongst Reynald and Oliver. He has been dispatched. The name Ulmacor seemed to have rang several warning bells. They haven't worked on him for some time, waiting for this John Aru to arrive.
So was this Dornaru?
John.
Jornaru. Oh.
Yeah, very old name. Very old name.
just backtrack. I missed something about Oliver and Reynold. Who are Oliver and Reynold?
Torturers.
Are they the torturers?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your feeling towards a Grand Theogenist?
The head of my August order.
A sense, a dislike, distaste in your voice.
I chaff at a man with less experience than me, dictating to me how I run my provinces. But do we all not chafe at ineffectual leadership?
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
He is pampered. He sits, as you alluded to, of political rising as opposed to via the worship of Sigmar. He was voted by the lectors into power, and I don't believe he's deserved of it.
Well, we'll keep that between ourselves, though.
I think so. Not that anyone will believe you anyway.
So, my concern about Burroughs is this. They brought him in for being a witch. They questioned him. He refused to say he was a witch. He gave some flaky information about some aura of the bear or something like that. And then, prompting this, he's been in prison for months and tortured for information not relating to witchcraft at all.
He said in his defence, from what I understand during the confessions of Reynald and Oliver, that he is not a void worshipper or in league with witchcraft because he is a member of the Brotherhood, a follower of Ulmacor. This, of course, made no sense. He has refused to give any other information. And we cannot, they cannot, cleanse him and send him to Morr's realm until he admits to his guilt. That has always been the way. Death on the battlefield is swift, and Morr will move amongst those that have fallen. But in this case, you cannot give absolution if they will not admit to guilt. I suspect, based on Ronald and Oliver's information, that the reason he's been kept is waiting for this representative from Caraborg to arrive.
It smacks of religious persecution.
There has been wars fought for less. You're in a world where the gods walk amongst us. Worship and religious persecution are common. You say it with
Yeah,
distaste, but it's not something that you could look upon and go, this is made up.
So where does this Sir Lucas Burns, where does he fit into all of this?
He's the Lord Commander. Did you know anything before you came here?
No,
He's Commander
not
of the
enough.
Knights.
I understand he's the commander of the Knights.
Well, that's where he comes in. That's his job.
And this commander of the Knights, is he located at the barracks?
So I believe. When he first arrived here, he was at the palace. But he has never come here and he has never given any confession. And nobody that comes here and uses this temple, who are high-ranking members of the court, military commanders, they've had no interaction with him. He has cloistered himself amongst the barracks and hasn't left.
Okay.
Perhaps they are taken back by the level of corruption within the city. Perhaps, as your friend here alludes to, there's some religious persecution, but it's self-harming as well as anything else because Sigmarites have been pulled in.
What do you make of this brotherhood? This brotherhood of the... What was it?
Brotherhood of what? The stag?
The stag.
Nothing. They just informed me that's what he'd confessed to, and they were troubled by it. They were troubled by the reaction of the people of stature that suddenly arose, that suddenly became involved, became interested. I have a confession. I'm not here, and my days of persecuting the enemies of Sigmar are behind me, unless called directly upon to do so. It is of no concern to me. Perhaps the man was just trying to offset the questioning. Perhaps he is made of firmer stuff than he's been given credit for. After all, apparently he is the High Witch. He is apparently the leader of a very large coven that has been able to pass by unseen, their rituals unwitnessed.
Mm.
Okay. You have been helpful.
You've asked no question that I'm uncomfortable answering. Do not think to ignore me when I call upon you.
I'm a man of my word.
Good. Do not think for a moment that I'm here just to be called upon at your whim. So think carefully before you leave, because this will not happen again. I shall give you some time, gentlemen.
Okay.
If you wish to talk to me, look into the main temple. You will see one of my initiates. Indicate to them that they are to come for me. If you do not wish to speak to me again, then I bid you a good evening, and may Tal and Sigmar shine down upon you in your hour of need. Gets up, pushes the chair under the table, and closes the door behind him as he leaves, leaving you in this outer chamber alone. Solid stone dwarven build walls, one window. You've been in there about 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
Well, Arnung,
This
what
is
do we do?
troubling.
Very.
So we've got one of our own.
Yeah.
You. Blaine Burrows was... Renyir, check if it is actually clear. We don't have any prying eyes, ears.
I'm going to look about.
The building, there is physically no possible way for this to be eavesdropped on. The way that
Okay.
the building is, the walls are, you can't go around, you've only got access to two walls, you can go outside, you see that there's the front, the window's up in the air. Admittedly, if somebody was to sneak up against the window, they could try and listen in, but they're going to get little to nothing unless you're shouting. And then the other wall is an outer exterior wall. You can see it is the same dwarven stone that makes the inner wall. This is a secure room, without a shadow of a doubt. The door itself thick enough that as long as you don't lose your, get excited and start raising your voice, nobody's going to hear anything. Takes you, only about 3 or 4 minutes to walk back in and give the all clear.
What do we do?
So this Knights of Sigmar are hunting the Brotherhood.
Or somebody else's. But they're using them.
Well, they've got one. They've got a member of the Brotherhood of the Stag already, and he hasn't broken yet.
Well,
But he's already said too much. They're already saying things which are far too uncomfortable.
I'm unfamiliar with the name Omako.
I'm very familiar with the Brotherhood of the Stag. Aren't we?
no.
I'm looking at Leaf. You're insignificant. You shut up and sit in the corner.
I was just answering the question. Nope, don't know any of it.
We need a rescue him.
It's perhaps best, Renyir, that it stays that way. The less you know, the safer you are.
Just to point out, there's no way unless, and I apologise if you are being subtle, so ignore me if you were. Leaf just said he's unaware of the name Ulmacor.
Yes, I know. I was just about to get to that.
Okay.
Because it is when Renyir was butting in.
It's like,
Shut up, you little shit.
stop dropping these bombs on me.
Yeah, drink some brandy. Here's my flask. So, Omako, I think that's something Framling will be aware of. I know the last time that name was mentioned, it piqued his interest. Not entirely sure what relevance it has, other than the fact that Omako is a name we've heard
Okay.
in my temple. Anyway, we were told about Omako, one of the first founding fathers of the order.
Maybe they would just use a different dialect with him.
Perhaps. But could it be coincidence, Leaf, that we have a name, a 1,000-year-old name, back upon the lips of these Sigmarites?
Well, it's directly from one of our brothers, though.
Mm. Now,
Framling.
all these
we need to tell
witches,
Framling.
all part of the Brotherhood. So what we need to establish is, are they burning the stag?
I doubt it. I mean, I'm surprised there was. I mean, obviously he's a recent recent arrival in the city, but I would have thought I would have known about him. Where is?
No, clearly not.
So if he wasn't here to meet up with the connection in the city for the order or the Brotherhood, which is me, what's he doing here? I certainly don't think he's a witch. But I don't think the others who are being executed relate to him. I think they feel like they've hooked a juicy worm and I hooked a juicy fish and starting to realise that they're kind of out of scope. This is not what they're for. They're not supposed to be kind of like hunting down kind of like people who refuse to admit. Well, you catch it and you always bash its head in. Or do you put some back? They don't seem to put any back. So they're forcing confessions out of people.
Could be a ritual.
That's the worry, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So
This whole thing just stinks from the ground up.
It really does. But we need to get Burrows out before he can be tortured in a week's time by this Joe, whatever his face.
Aru.
I think this. What do we know more? What do we know about this Oliver and Reynald? Do you know anything, Renyir? Have you heard these names before? Is there anything you can find out, Leaf? Are these chaps?
Certainly
Do
try.
they reside at the barracks? Have they got a place of their own? Maybe we can.
We need to speak to this priest of Morr as well. Clearly, he has access, and we should be able to get some information from him if he's holds sway and he's shown that level of compassion for Burrows and is visiting. Then he might be a good place to start. He'd obviously have information about the torturers anyway, wouldn't he? If he has sway in there. I think he's my next port of call, but is there anything else we've got to ask here? I mean, you seem to be doing pretty well with direct questions. But all of this feels political or worse. Certainly doesn't seem to be kind of like true faith there. Or true worship, really.
No, is this just mere coincidence that Burrows happens to be a member of the Brotherhood? Or is this something that's been targeted by...
Potentially. I mean, what would be useful, actually, it would be a list of the people who've been found to be witches and their occupations and possibly some background on them. If we can get a list, I might be able to get some information.
Remember the one thing he did hint at, didn't hint, he told you direct that Burrows was arrested within days of the knighthood arriving based on information given by
the orator.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dear. If only we could ask him questions.
Maybe Walker.
Well, unless any of us can speak and converse with the dead, I don't think that's going to be an option.
Who can converse with the dead?
Priest of Morr?
Right, who's got a big sack? We need a sack. Wait for him on the road. Wait in a bush. Touch him over the head.
Wreck him.
And rack him. Show him how we do in the north.
I'm
Hasn't
king
he
in the
already
north.
got the orator's body?
What?
Hasn't he already got the orator's body?
Yeah. It's handy, that, isn't it?
I like how we've just going from one track to another one. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to get the priest of Morr, we're going to kick Seven Bells the shit out of him and force him to talk to the body of...
I think he might actually be an ally in all of this. If he has some form of compassion for Burrows and repeated visits, I think he might actually be kind of like a very useful man to meet.
You might find about your torturing techniques as well.
My torturing techniques are his.
I think he's
Arnung's.
mine.
Scary.
And we've just lost Ivan again. Are you fit? Can you hear us?
He must have heard of your techniques.
No, he's back.
joined
He's
again.
back. He's back.
It
Hello.
wasn't me.
Was you? Shut up.
Right.
Oh, that's a bad screen.
Do you mean it's the best kind of screen?
That's weird, eh?
Mm.
I'm a different colour now. I'm no longer that so pink.
That's me.
You're no different, man.
The contrast on me t-shirt changes. I can see it greying out.
That's on you, not over here. Lads,
No, you
does
can't
he
see.
look different?
No.
Bugger it.
I'm telling you. Camera shenanigans.
Oh, the darkness.
It's all that void talk.
More.
So, do we have
undead
any more?
and webcams?
Do we have anything further? Bringing it back. Do we have anything further of?
What
What
I
are your
ask of
thoughts?
this guy? Aye.
No.
a list of the guilty. See if you can get it with a list. If you can get with a list of all the people who've been executed for being witches, a list of witches, then we could do a bit of digging, you know what I mean, and see if there's any kind of like correlation between or relationship between any of these people. I mean, you might find that they're all politically the same, or I mean, it's not unheard of for kind of like powerful people to eliminate other powerful people or pawns of powerful people for political reasons and call it religion. We're talking about some real true rot in the Church of Sigmar. Certainly seem to be specialists at something, and it's certainly not witch hunting. Otherwise, they wouldn't have our burrows down in a dungeon somewhere being tortured.
I think the very fact that Olmakor and the Brother of the Stag were mentioned in the same sentence, it's going to worry Framling considerably.
I didn't think you could get worried.
His worry, when he worries, we suffer. I suffer.
Then it goes down the line.
Yeah, as he says that, it's almost like the massive cut that across his entire face swells as if to prove a point. when I suffer this, just this little.
Just the neon arrows.
Don't forget that he's literally had his face cut in half.
Yeah. See, it'd help if I had a little picture, little
with the face
thingy.
cut in half.
Yeah, with me, with the face, actual, like we have with the other guy. That lovely little, if someone's watching this who's good at drawing, get an image.
Yeah, and superimpose it over your face. Then we wouldn't have to worry about you moving them all the time.
I think he's suddenly gonna go back in the game and Arnung just backhands Renyir for no apparent reason.
I'm outside. Outside. Priest!
Yeah.
Wait, you're
Priest!
running outside screaming priest? It's not the Roman Catholic Church. Anyway.
Anywho. Right.
Anywho.
So what's the plan? Do we get a list? I mean, that's the only information I think would be useful. Other than... I think
it would... Perhaps it is useful to know that...
You probably won't give it.
Probably doesn't have the information, but there's no harm asking.
Yeah. Someone might. There'll be someone keeping records of this stuff. Churches love lists.
Yeah. Maybe the orator had it. In his house.
Maybe he just remembered it. We'll ask the priest and more.
So anything further from Wern assaults other than this list? So we ask about the list. We wait for the priest of Morr.
Well, we can go to the Temple of Morr. I'll get the lads to bring the body round, and we'll feign deep concern about the orator and how he had information. Obviously, you're just going to tell the priest that you just came in and wrecked him, though, isn't he?
Double-edged sword. Well thought. I was looking forward to that.
That would be awkward.
What?
He kissed me to death because that's his last memory, is getting kissed and then sharp pain. Oh no, the finger up his bum.
Maybe I go in alone. He doesn't know who I am. He hasn't seen my face. I could feign concern about the guy and get him some information.
I'm going to say
Well, yeah, but I mean, kind of like he's
Kiss,
going to go.
death,
It was this massive Arnung
North guy.
guy from the north. He said he was the king of the north, and he chopped me throat.
Because no matter where Arnung goes, I'm the king of the north. And meet Timmy.
Diodo Busso.
No, I think we could swing that though. You just hide behind a curtain or something. You know what I mean?
We still have Oliver and Reynolds. They will know.
Well, yeah, but we should ask the priest more about them too as well, because obviously he's been visiting Burrows in the dungeons where he's getting tortured. He must know the torturers too.
Yeah.
So I think
torturers should know who they've been burning, so perhaps they can offer us names rather than going down the extreme route and kidnapping the priest of Morr.
No, we're taking the body to get its last rites or whatever, you know, whatever the death cults love to do, you know.
When did we say we're going to kidnap the priest of Morr?
I don't know. I think he's just like a kind of direct action guy type of man, you know.
Very direct. Isn't that what you said? Yeah.
No, I reckon that's my best course of action. Ask the priest. I mean, I don't know if you have any more questions or anyone else can come up for any information, but can we'll ask them for the list at least, and then we can do that on the way out or whatever.
Okay, we'll ask about the list.
And then we'll go to the Temple of Morr, see if we can find this guy, and maybe get some information from the orator as well.
Okay.
Did you ransack his house as well?
You what?
Did you ransack his house as well?
No.
No.
Could you get one of you guys to look into his house? Into his home?
Bring the papers?
No, could send Renyir.
Okay.
Give him something to do while we're talking to the priest of Morr. Because obviously he was there, I'm guessing. He's neither of them you want to really be present while they're questioning the guy you murdered, you know?
Perhaps I should not be present.
Maybe we split up then. I go to the priest of Morr, take the orator's body, basically kind of like have a word with him about the other stuff first, and then, or maybe you should come, because you're probably kind of like going to be asking better questions than I. And then when it's time, I'll get the orator to show up a little bit later and try and pump for information while you make yourselves scarce towards the orator's house for a quick bit of ransacking. Because the orator's house is Burrow's house, so I mean it's useful to search for both ends, you know.
Okay, so Renyir, you search the home, and you're going to target the Morr temple with the
I'll
body.
go with the priest, yeah.
I want to find out where Oliver or Ronaldo. I want to have a word.
Just out of game though. Isn't that going to be difficult for Mark to coordinate?
Yes, so we'll do it.
Absolutely. It's a massive fucking foobar schoolboy error, and I'm going to punish you all for it.
We're not splitting up at all.
You do this, you do that, you do this. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right,
That would be very difficult. Yeah. So what I'm thinking about doing is we'll all go to the temple. We'll speak to this this priest of Morr, right? And then if there's a need for the orator to be questioned, you just make yourself scarce at that point, rather than all splitting up straight away. At least then you can we can have that conversation while you go and gather information.
Look,
So what do you hope?
Logistically.
Wait. Since we're out of game, it's not difficult. It's not difficult for me to do all three. Two things you've got to consider, right? If you all separate and go in three different directions. One, you're going to have meta knowledge, all right, which may or may not affect it when it becomes your turn to talk. And second, during each person's one-off scenario, the rest of the time you're just going to be sitting there doing nothing, so it's boring. From the viewer's point of view, in my view, I could do it.
I don't personally want to split up.
I've seen Scooby-Doo, like.
As a matter of interest, Arnung, you've missed something as well. Oliver and Reynald are the torturers, came from Karaborg. They are part of the knighthood. They wear the surcoats of the knighthood. This has been witnessed, you've been told.
Mhm.
Second, you've been told repeatedly they all live at the barracks. The only ones that ever come out for confession are the two torturers because they're troubled by what's been happening lately, and
Yeah.
you've just missed them.
Okay, so
So you know where they are.
I know where they are.
Right?
They're the
and you
barracks,
also know
but we've
that
just
they are
missed them.
knights.
Okay.
So it would seemingly be for me one of those moments I go, what? If I was watching this, why would this guy go looking for the knights at the barracks when he's been told repeatedly where they're from?
I don't want to go to the
much
barracks.
alcohol. Too much.
I'll have a come on then, all our daughters. Smash a bottle off the barrack
drunk.
door.
Get drunk and start out. Come on,
Fist
have you
fight.
been hard enough?
Come on then.
Stab.
Molotovs.
Yeah.
So-
With a hole in the face.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind you that because I think that you were going down a confusing path of too much knowledge and your head blew up. All right. So you know who they are, you know where they are, you know you've just missed them, you know what they are. All right. You already know this. If you want
Okay.
to talk to them, fair enough, but you have to wait for them to come, and because they've only left once. Now, first of all, they were witnessed several hours ago leaving the temple by Renyir. They're the barracks by Renyir. Yeah, they headed north, which is generally in this direction. They've obviously confessed. They've headed back. It's a large city, many streets. You just missed them in the crowd. Yeah. If you want to talk to them, the other thing is that the High Capitular I did mention, they turn up generally after the burning. So you've got another week. In the meantime, during that week, this John Aru is expected to arrive. Leaf has already said you'd never see them leave. It was news to him that these torturers were actually leaving, but he's never been involved with them, didn't need to watch them 24 hours a day, and that's not Leaf's life, that's not his job in this world anyway, yeah? So timescale wise, it would go by previous experience of what you've been told. It's going to be a week before these guys show up. Yep. A lot can happen and go wrong in that time. So you generally go, I want to talk to them and question them. You're going to be putting that on the back bench unless you can find some way to try and get those two out of the barracks, or at least one of them out of the barracks somehow. Conceivably, for both of you, they've got to be fed. That would be something that should be in the back of your mind. Yeah? If they're not leaving the barracks, how are they getting food? How are they being fed? That's a possible concept, you know, if you go all, how do we get in there type thing. Second,
Right.
you definitely want to talk to the priest, I understand that, don't forget that, and of course you're now concentrating on the priesthood of Morr. So, get back on, I just wanted to bring me back on topic and also clarify some things that you're making, some slight mistakes on that you wouldn't. So, and back to you.
Okay, so we asked the priest about the list. See if we can get some names.
Yeah, get the names, then we'll go to the priest of Morr, and we'll question him.
Okay. Let's move then. Come along, Renyir.
Oh,
Right, so you step out.
Mhm.
Okay. The door opens up onto the main temple octagon.
All right, we'll
You
want to
can see-
speak to them, one of the acolytes, then
You can see an initiate.
initiate. Aye.
There. All three of you go strolling up there, no doubt, or what?
Yeah.
Okay. He hears your footfalls. It's very quiet. Turns and looks at you. Yes, sirs. It's another young lad.
Hello. Greetings. We were hoping to speak with High Capitular. later.
You said that you may be interested in speaking to him again. If you'd like to return to the room, I shall go and see if he's available.
It's I mean, we might not have to see him straight. Actually, we're looking for a list of the witches that you've executed recently, and any information you've got of them.
His eyes go slightly wide. We have not. We've not
Well,
executed
surely you
any
keep
witches.
records.
Why should we keep records? It's not, we don't
Well-
deal with that.
Do you know who would?
I'm sorry, sir. I really don't think I'm in a best position. I just sweep the floors.
Well,
If you return to the room and he wanders off before you, you can still shout at him. You know, he's not the Flash. No.
Wander back to the room.
Go get the high testicular.
You go away to the room, leave the door open, no doubt, and event. You know, it doesn't take long. He comes back in again. Which one of you has just accosted one of my initiates?
Accosted. Asked him a simple question.
About a
one.
private conversation we're having. Honestly, I don't know how things are done in Tal's world, but we don't all have the same level of information. He is an initiate.
Well, I thought record keeping would be kind of like a low level thing, you know.
But I've
different
made it very
orders.
clear this temple has nothing to do with the witches. Repeatedly.
Do you not keep a census?
Why would we? It is nothing to do with us. I could say this in a different language. It'll still be the same message. We are nothing to do with the witches.
Okay. Do you know who in the barracks would be keeping the records?
No idea, as far as that's concerned. But Arnung, if you're involved somehow here, your counterpart might be the person you'd like to talk to.
Okay.
Now, in case there's any misunderstanding, do you know who I refer to? Apparently not. Gentlemen,
Hell,
please, yes.
Okay, we can
He
do
would
that.
be the person that you'd like to speak to regarding the witches that have been getting burned. But that did not come from me. Goebbels will not be best pleased. So tread carefully.
Understood.
Gentlemen, next time you come here, it will be to pray for Sigmar's guidance, and it will be without any alcohol in your system. Have I made myself clear?
Indeed.
Absolutely.
You've overstayed your welcome. Have a good evening. Turns and strides off.
We usually. I didn't do that. I said we usually do. We always overstay our welcome.
Nobody murder somebody in the process.
I haven't murdered anybody yet.
What?
You're the only one that's murdered somebody?
Not today.
Yes, it is
Oh, wait.
today.
Oh, it is still today. Yeah, okay, it is. Fair enough.
I haven't murdered anyone in ages. It's been a couple of hours. Oh, yeah. You're the only one that can't say that.
Shut up. Shut up, Tal.
No, it's Billy. Tim.
Oh, yeah.
It's Timmy.
Arnung turns and shouts to his goat, which isn't a goat.
What? Oh, we've lost Ivan again.
Oh, Ivan, man.
Can you still hear us?
Nah, it just disconnects.
To the network.
It's probably me. I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Sigma's justice.
It just didn't do it last week, did it? No.
He's in Nordland.
Literally tall land, surrounded by cows, sheep, and horses.
Right. So. Dun dun dun.
You broke the high capitula. Well, we go.
At least he's not dead.
I don't appreciate his tone, though. You think I should go in there and kill him? It's a joke.
I think it's a good joke. It'd be kind of funny.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you do owe him one now. You're in his debt.
Yeah, whatever that is.
You don't always have to pay your debts, though. Not if they're not called upon. I'm not trying to encourage a random murder, but I'm just saying you could get yourself out of a sticky situation because whatever he's going to ask you to do for him, it's probably going to be shit. So I'm just
this is you
forewarning.
walking down the street, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's gotta be shit.
Yeah, but even if you find an attempter, it's going to put you in the same situation.
I mean, you don't know this man. You don't know his vices. You don't know what he likes. Could be rather unpleasant.
It's a good job I'm not a man of my word and I actually don't. I don't give a shit about the priest. I just want to get information. And I'll do it by any means necessary.
Well, maybe he wants to come and ask you a favour when you're surrounded by your army then. That'll be funny.
That would be amusing.
Anyway, where's this priest of Morr? Let me find the map.
The Temple of Morr?
So it's not, it's literally just across the road from where you stay.
Oh, handy.
Well, where is this?
What we should do is pop into where the guys have been staying because that's the closest tavern to the barracks. So if them prisoners are those torturers are eating, they're probably eating in the tavern that they're staying in.
Or they have their food brought to the barracks so they don't have to leave.
No, they'll not. That would be absurd. They're just a pair of knights and go and get their own food. Sigmarites don't normally have servants.
Didn't they say they just live in the barracks or?
Yeah, they live at the barracks, but I'm sure they go to the tavern. I mean,
They'll just leave.
torture and thirsty work.
Left for the confessions. They're going to go for a takeaway and a pint.
Well, yeah, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd fancy a kebab if I was stuck in the same place.
Damn right. So you'd go across the road to the nearest tavern because it's quite a posh place. So we could nip back there and update Framlin and then go to the Temple of Morr across the road.
I think we should leave Framling out of this for now.
Well, there's the option. And on the way, we could get beer.
Framling does not like to be disturbed, especially when he's meditating.
All right. But we could check the tavern. I think we should go to the temple, actually. Find out what the score is with these guys. We could end up coming down on two innocents. Your call.
Well, we need answers. Let's start there.
Start with what?
The temple.
Temple, okay. Go there then.
Don't you need... Do you need the body as well?
Not right now.
And you?
Okay. Well, it takes you, like I say, about 20 minutes casual walking. You can clearly see the Harvest Goose on the right-hand side of the road, and you can see the Moors Park on the left as you pass by the last set of buildings. Heading down the street, you can see that the Moors Park is heavily walled and gated, except for the entrance that is leads straight into the actual temple itself, which is at the northeast corner of the grounds. It's considered to be fairly taboo to just go wandering into the gardens because you'd have to climb over the fortified wall to get in. It's part of the Morr thing that you have to pass through the gate. It's symbolic. The temple itself, as you approach it, it's very well maintained. No weeds in sight. The pillars on either side of the gate of this open doorway. One is painted white and the other one is of a obsidian black. This is indicative of the gates of Morr itself and to his realm. You step into or through these through these gates, and there's a long corridor. The building itself is a long affair. It's not square per se, and you can see that there are 3 doors visible on either side, and then it opens up, and you can see that there is a altar, stand, solid stone. In your years, you have had to attend a Morr Temple sermon, and you know that that's where the remains, a coffin, for example, will be placed. Behind, you can see behind the temple itself, you can see the actual the statue of Morr, a black robed figure, and that stands with hands out in a sense of accepting the dead into his realm. The rooms on either side, the doors are all closed. You can obviously walk straight down the main corridor to the area, which clearly opens up into a large square environment for the final ceremony if you wish. Or you can cough. Do you just want to wander in there, or do you want to give warning that you're there, call for assistance, something like that?
Hey, Renyir. What's that guy's name again?
The guy that you were
Yeah,
asking about. Albert Zimmerman?
Albrecht.
Albert.
Is it Albert Albrecht?
Albert.
Alberic. Is it Alberic?
I don't know.
You realise all 3 of you have heard something different. Tom!
No one put it past these 2.
Oh, officially changed his name to Tom.
Oh,
You could just ask for High Priest Zimmerman.
Aye. So, do you know Tom? Who? I don't know. Sounds like Alberic.
Yeah,
We're calling him
Mark,
Tom for short.
Kane, if this can be a conversation, obviously, rather than just coughing. So it's going to attract some attention.
Albert.
People try to remember. Yeah.
What's the guy's name? But he could just say this. Yeah, your voice echoing down through the deathly quiet of Morr's temple.
I'm just shh.
Settle down.
A shadow detaches itself from the dark end of the corridor and moves towards you.
Damn it.
We'll leg it.
Guy's like, what? I always said to the High Priest, black robes in an unlit chamber are just bad news.
Who does that?
Run away. A young man,
No wonder we go through initiate so quick.
Yeah, man in his sort of early mid-20s comes along. You see he's wearing the black heavy robes of Morr. The signature silver runes that run down the heavy cowl are all the old runes of basically the rites of passage. You see around the rope belt hanging from the front are some stylized skulls, small miniature-like skulls on a set of beads, effectively. You are after the High Priest Albrecht.
Albrecht. See, I was right.
That was close.
Have you had recently deceased?
Yes.
And the name of the deceased?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not laughing at you. Just like
I've just been asked to kind of like to arrange, for his passing. I believe was a murder victim, but he was no relation to me. I don't think he had anybody else though.
I of course can ask for Albrecht to come and see you, but the father is very important. They would need a sizable donation.
I'll put some.
I give Oracle's purse.
I'll put some coinage in his whatever, in the bowl, whatever, in his hands. Where does he want it?
So you just take them out of your purse, or do you just hold it up?
Go ahead, hold it. I'll just hold it up.
His hand comes out of these ridiculously long, heavy sleeves.
Ugh.
Skeleton.
Oh, okay. You said sleeves. I thought they were going to be like long, elongated fingers and stuff. No, that's just.
It's just a dude in a robe.
Yeah, exactly. Right, come with me. You walk down through the corridor. The doors, like I say, are all closed. There's no windows onto these rooms. You get to the end room on the right-hand side. At this point, you can clearly see the main chamber that you're looking at. The altar with the statue of Morr looming along the back end. Doors are to the left and right inside this larger square room. However, before you enter the main chamber, you open the door on the right-hand side and you step into an office. A room very similar as the one that you were in the Temple of Sigmar. This is clearly the place where the relatives come, where they want to organise things for the passage, for the ceremonies and for the dead. If you please wait here. He walks beyond the table in the centre of the room to a door directly opposite. He opens that and you can see that there is an unadorned corridor on the other side. He closes the door and moves off. You wait for a couple of moments. You wait a bit longer. The door opens again and you see an elderly gentleman come through. He's in his 60s, thin, age is hanging heavily upon him. He walks with that sort of stiffness of somebody that's had a hard life with his back bent. How can I help you? You come to organise the dead. The fact that you have paid a sizable donation means that you are somebody of means. We have a few lots still in the garden, but they do not come cheap. What sort of level of cost are we looking at?
Oh, minimal. I mean, obviously, kind of like we are trying to do best by the man, but none of us knew him. He's not family.
So you don't wish him to be interred within the gardens?
No, that would be nice. I mean, he's a murder victim. I believe he was molested as well. So it would be nice for him to be kind of like laid to rest correctly, you know?
Allegedly.
Obviously, space is a premium within the Fauschlag. The garden itself is normally given over to those of great prominence. If this man fits that, or if in fact your purse is heavy, this does not seem to be of the best option for minimal cost for a murdered, molested victim.
So
we can have the body, obviously a ceremony here. The body can then be carried out through the southern gate down into the valley below. That would be the next cost, and he can be buried in one of the many cemeteries on the base of the mountain. Of course,
that
the
would work.
cheapest option would be for his body to be cast from the Cliff of Sighs. We can, of course, organise mourners.
That doesn't sit right. That doesn't sit right. No, I think your pockets are deep enough to have the man buried properly, aren't they?
Cast aside more like.
I mean, it's up to you. It's your money, but I would say kind of like, you know, definitely not thrown off a cliff.
Obviously, the last rites will have been performed within the temple. He will already be within the realm, and therefore his body will already be sanctified.
What's the angle here, Leaf?
The angle, I mean, probably 45 degrees as he topples off the top.
So we need the body. This is me leaning in, by the way.
Oh, right, okay.
Whispering in your ear, not just saying it out loud.
Well, I mean,
right,
I just think kind of like, I think if you just kind of like, you know, spend a bit of money, we can get. I mean, like this guy obviously likes money, right?
Yeah,
so
I
kind of,
that, but what
so kind of like, obviously we don't care what happens to the orator, but if you give him loads of money, then ask him some questions, he's probably going to answer kind of like to the positive. You know what I mean? Especially if you kind of go, "Oh, I've got more money."
Converse with the dead. You seem to have knowledge of this, Leaf.
What, have you converse with the dead?
Yes, have you seen this done before? This ritual.
No, I've heard of it though.
So what happens? So is he?
Well, I'm guessing that if you're in the room, he's probably going to shout that it was you.
Yes, that's what I'm worried about.
Well, you know, I mean, kind of like, obviously, we're not going to do that now. We're going to ask him some other questions first, aren't we? But if we're agreed to a decent price for the funeral, he might want to hang around for a bit and see if he can fish more coin out your pocket, innit?
Okay, look. My pockets are deep enough.
Brilliant. All right.
The end
Turn
goal.
the priest and go, yeah, the full Monty then.
That's pocket's not that deep.
Can we just be clear, though, that this gentleman was not molested in any way? He was, however, murdered.
Oh, that's terrible.
I just thought I'd clear up the confusion.
All right. I understood kind of like from other people that he'd been molested in some way before he was murdered. But if that's not the case, I think maybe...
It's the lies that people spread.
Yeah. Terrible rumours. Spurious.
You know what rumours are like.
Some truth.
Where is the corpse?
It's nearby. I can get it for you. Should I get it brought here?
Well, the normal procedure would be that my acolytes will bring the corpse here under ceremony.
Oh, all right then. I've never done this before, so you'll have to guide us through it. Sorry.
Well, it's an option. Of course, if you want to bring the corpse here, that's fine. But normally people they call for the priests, and the body is removed by our acolytes. It's up to yourself, of course.
No, I think it's already. I think it's already been kind of collected and stored, ready to come here because we didn't know the procedure. Sorry.
Fine. It doesn't matter how long it takes.
I'll get somebody to bring it over in a bit.
Then,
and hand it over to the acolytes to bring in. Yeah.
Yes, we will allocate we'll allocate the only free room I have available for the storage. When would you be looking to have the ceremony take place?
Maybe tomorrow afternoon.
You said where or when?
When?
Oh, when?
Tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. Bring the body here. We will look at the damage to the corpse. That will obviously impact on the price. Then we will commit it to Morr's realm. Prepare it. Will you be wanting mourners?
Honours.
Mourners.
Yes, absolutely. Lots
mourners
of them.
And whalers. Lots of them.
Lots of them.
As you say, if there is no expense spared. And of course you want the body interred in the Garden of Morr, though you were reluctant, you have decided upon that.
Indeed.
Then the ceremony will be held internally here. We will have the body held in the room second on the left as you come in. And then at the allocated time tomorrow afternoon, it will be brought forward to be laid before the statue of Morr. The final ceremony will take place, and then it will be carried out into the Garden of Morr. I will have some of my acolytes prepare a lot in the gardens. And you will, of course, we expect you will pay the full amount before the ceremony.
Indeed, Arnung's loaded.
Then thank you very much, gentlemen.
There was a couple of other questions I had though. First of all, can you speak to the dead? Is that true?
Through the power of our Lord Morr.
You can.
You're freshly dead. It is harder that the longer that they have been held in the void.
Right.
As you are no doubt aware, the longer it takes for a soul to be commemorated and handed to Morr's realm, it can easily fall to be the playthings of the void creatures.
Okay. And another thing. Lately, there's been a load of witches being executed in town.
That's the case.
Is that something that you would keep records of?
That which is no. We have.
I mean, obviously you're burying them, so I thought you might check their name down or
burying
something.
No. After they are burned, we will give them their last rites so that they can start a judgment before more. But the bodies are being hung from the fortified wall. There's warnings.
There's warnings. Have you ever spoken to them? The dead of them? Out of curiosity.
No, there's been no need. We've not been paid to do so.
Hmm.
If we were to help in an investigation, perhaps it would be something that could come in, but we don't access them until after they've been burned, and by then their guilt has been confirmed.
Yeah, but they're also holding people for a long time, aren't they? They're holding that Talarite guy for like months now.
I mean this leader of the coven, this borough's, it's common knowledge. They speak of it often on the 7th day.
So if he's the leader, why haven't they killed him? Why are they keeping him for months?
As they've alluded to during the ceremony, he will not admit his guilt.
So are they at an impasse, or is there something that can be done?
Nothing to do with my temple or my god. We deal with the dead.
Don't you visit the guy though? Don't you kind of like
No.
I mean, I'm guessing kind of like every week he gets his last rites.
Nope. It doesn't matter. We don't have to give them their last rites. We don't have to speak to them before they die. We speak to them afterwards. And no, I've never been to the Sigmarites.
You've never met them?
No, I have no need to. We don't care if you are. The only thing that we care about is if you interact with the dead once they've been laid to rest. And then you will gain our anger.
Interact with the dead.
There are those that would use the corpses, those that have been sanctified for nefarious needs.
That sounds a bit wrong.
They will get our undivided attention. But witches and the accusation of witchcraft and void worship is nothing of my concern as long as it doesn't interact with our gardens and our ability to do our job.
But isn't that kind of like... I suppose that wouldn't be his job, would it? Handy though, wouldn't it? The Talarite looking after your gardens.
As has often been said.
Sorry, priest. A moment. I lean into Leaf again. So, these bodies, you're saying they hung outside?
Yeah, on the tree.
So, can we not just pay him a sizable donation for him to ask questions? I mean, all we really need to know is that
they've got to be
the
freshly
Brotherhood
dead, though. They've got to be freshly dead. These have been dead for a bloody week.
Or you could just pay him the money to speak.
Oh, no, it's Sunday, isn't it? Today?
Yeah, 5 have been freshly burned. Bear in mind, he didn't say that it was not impossible. He said it's more difficult the longer they've been dead.
Yeah, that's doable, actually. Arnung.
So we pay him.
Clear they were the unsanctified ones. Presumably, if they've been sanctified, then it doesn't matter.
So we feed him a cock and bull story about how that we need some information from these so-called witches, which could be linked to the death of our man. We all we need to know is, are these guys the Brotherhood?
Go for it.
What do you reckon?
I think it's reasonable. Not giving too much away there.
Okay. Go on then. I'll let you do the honours, since you've already built a lovely rapport with the man.
Well, yeah, but you coming in from the side might be a bit more forceful, as in you've lost your patience with this type line of question and starting again, good cop, bad cop kind of thing.
I like the way you think, Leaf. I like the way you think. So, priest, we were hoping that for a sizable donation, you could offer some assistance. Is he gone?
He's just staring
Priest?
at you. He's just staring at you across the table.
Oh. What's it with priest and me? We just don't get along.
He's not frowning at you.
Oh, okay. I thought he was just sitting there glaring at us. What have I said now?
I think he's waiting for you to get to the point.
Oh.
He's like this old man that deals with dead bodies. Blah, 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 blah. God, I fucking hate the living. And we lost Ivan.
Oh, Ivan's gone again. It's every time we're in a temple, this happens.
He is the dark god.
Yes. Ivan. Hello.
Hello,
You're back.
I'm back.
So we were hoping for a sizable donation. We could.
You were hoping
just-
for one.
What?
That got his attention. You're
What?
hoping for a sizable donation.
Yes. If you pay me. No, that's not what I said. Or
It
It
was.
was. It
That's
was.
exactly what you said.
it's not supposed to come out.
It's
For a
the alcohol.
sizable donation, I could get out my wallet and put another pouch on the table in front. We could help us out with some information that we need, and that is speaking to those that hang outside.
You talked about the witches that have been burned that are hanging on outside of the fortified wall above the cliff.
Yes.
Yeah.
We want some information from them.
Well, don't know how you'd go about that, but perhaps if you could have one of the bodies
Brought.
and brought inside the city, I would be more than happy to help. But
You can't come out and do it there.
I'm not going to hang off a fortified wall above a 500-foot drop for anybody. I'm a little bit too old. I've left the stupidness behind. So you get one of the bodies brought down. Happy to help for a sizable donation.
Okay.
Now, when can we expect the body?
Which one?
Your murdered friend?
Yeah, I'll get him there within the hour.
I shall make sure that two of my men are here to bring him in. If you would like to, I can show you the room that he'll be stored in.
Yeah, that would be good.
He walks around behind you, opens the door that you came in. You're back in the main corridor at this point, and he takes a couple of steps to the left and directly opposite opens the door. It opens up into a large room, and there are 4 raised stone platforms. 3 of them have got bodies with sheets over them, and the 4th one is empty. The body will be stored here until till the time of the ceremony.
Okay.
So it's beautiful.
He leaves you. He's standing in the doorway, and steps out to talk to the acolyte that was with you before, leaving you in the room.
I'll step out of the room and head out of the side of the temple so I can get organise the body to be brought down.
Okay. You see your man. He looks worried as you approach.
He covers his face.
Nicholas and Ruprecht, they never returned. He's referring to the 2 men that you sent for the body. We've been there, and the target and our 2 friends are not there.
Oh.
Do we hear this?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You're just standing in the room with 3 dead bodies and an empty table. Beside you, the Albrecht is saying, "Our host, I want you to make sure that you and Esh are available within the hour. You will be bringing the body when it brought here."
Holy shit! What? Slanesh? What did he say?
Our host and Esh.
Oh,
Nobody knows the name Slanesh anyway, so that's the only reason that I'm not now attacking you with everything. Daggers, rocks, skulls. Yeah, and you're getting dry humped, your eye socket getting penetrated by an old man's fucking penis.
That's something.
And meanwhile, outside the temple.
All right. Who's been watching the building?
Well, nobody after they went in to retrieve the body.
Right, no one was watching the building. No one's been adjacent. No one's been looking.
Why would they?
I got send you out to do a fucking job to retrieve a body, and then 2 of me men disappear, and you don't tell us.
But I've been waiting to talk to you. You weren't. Why would we look after a building that's now empty? We've never had to look after the body. They went to deal with the body, and then I've come to inform you that they haven't returned.
It didn't occur to you that might be of importance to us.
But yes, but we couldn't get near you for the last 2 hours. You've not been alone.
For fuck's sake.
You slapped me last time. I'm sorry. You said not to approach you while you were in their company.
I said, grab me attention, and I'll come to you.
I've been trying.
So no one's been around in this vicinity near the house. No one's seen anything.
Well, the Morr priests were there.
The Morr priests were there. When?
After Albrecht and Nicholas went in for the body. You know, we saw the horses and the long carriage, but I didn't think.
I guess not.
I waited for an hour, and then I snuck in and found out the place was empty.
Anything unusual?
No.
All right. Leave it with us.
Sorry.
I return to the other 2.
So yeah, at that point, you've just heard him say, right, make sure that the body will be here within the hour. This is where it shall be stored. It's the only available slot, and the ceremony will be tomorrow afternoon. Make sure that these gentlemen are supported in every way, as long as they paid that bill. As you come in through the main corridor, you see the old man turn and walk off, down into the main chamber and out of sight, leaving these 2 priests with you. Unlike the old Albrecht, our host and Esh are fairly well built men. The robes seem to be somewhat more tailored, not big, heavy look at things on scrawny people. These guys look like they might bench press horses.
Arnung, quiet word. They've already collected the body. Maymen have vanished. Something very, very fishy is going on right now. I just found out now, but the people I sent to retrieve the body have not returned, and the body is gone. Apparently, the priests of Morr picked them up.
that's not good at all.
No, not at all. But I think you're off the hook for all of that money. I was pumping the bill for fun, but I don't think you have to pay for anything now. So I think we could just make our excuses and leave.
And that's a relief. I was going to say Ivan. Who's Ivan?
Is he speaking
That's a relief,
backwards?
Ivan.
Speaking in
Leave.
tongues.
All right, so I think we should just say kind of like the party's off and skedaddle down to the tavern. There's nothing more for us here.
Not doing the whole.
Unless you want to get one of the crispy critters down and bring them down to the morgue. Seems a bit redundant. I mean, it was a nice to have if he'd come out and do it for, but I mean, do you think they're going to tell her anything apart from ow, it hurts, it burns?
I don't know. I've not done this before.
Do you think they're going to be confessing as witches to a priest or more? Or do you think they'll just be like, whatever, I'm not going to talk to you? I'd be pretty pissed off if I'd been burned.
Yeah, they were burned first.
What?
Was that Renyir? Do you want to speak up?
I was thinking they weren't burnt first, but they were.
Yeah, they're all being burned, you see. So they've been tortured and then confessed and then burned. And then we're going to ask a pissed off priest to ask them questions that we haven't really thought out on the off chance that they might give us some information about whether they're witches or not.
How many bodies in this room?
I mean,
Well, you've left the room, but there was 3 bodies in the room that you're in. There's 4 chambers that you can count. If they're the same, that means that there's 4 plinths in each room.
Yeah.
And apparently they're all full, except for 1.
Did they look freshly?
They're under sheets, you couldn't tell.
Alright. Right. Did you mention that your men are being taken because before my audio was playing havoc, so I didn't hear any?
So he said that he came in, he went, "Oh, can I have a word?" And he just walked up the corridor. And that's what he told Arnung. I've just been informed that the 2 men I sent to pick up the body have vanished, and the body is apparently been picked up by the priests of Morr.
Alright. Do we know if those 3 bodies are the bodies we're looking for?
take a peek.
You're going to go back down to the room where the 2 priests are standing? They're not in the room, they're just at the end of the corridor, yeah? Waiting for you to decide what you're doing.
Well, me and Arnung will go and have a word with them and tell them that the pre-funeral's off and it's been a misunderstanding. And if Renyir...
He doesn't know what any of them look like. Oh, he looks... Well, you know what the orator looks like.
Yeah. Renyir could take a look at the bodies while we do that then.
I roughly know what size he is. Height-wise and...
You've held
yeah.
a knife to his neck, you know exactly what he looks and sounds like.
No, how size he is, like as in lying down on, because the undersheets on the
You're
plinth.
just going to lift the sheet and look, it's not complicated.
I was just going to look for his right size and then
No.
look it up. No?
I mean, effectively, if there's a giant in there, they need to stick out. But otherwise, people lying down, regardless of height, just look like dead bodies lying down.
No.
A real massive distinction, especially when they've got a big sheet over them. So,
Oh, morbid curiosity takes over.
and the fact that you've just been told to do it.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, while I was here.
All right. So we'll have a word with the boys at the end of the corridor then, and let them know that the funeral's off and we were sent here to get something organised, but it looks like somebody's already taken care of it.
Well, while you're doing that, so Renyir, you go into the chamber where there was an empty slot. Yep.
Yeah.
Not the other 3, which the doors are closed, and you would distinctly be noticed going into the storage area.
Yeah.
They're in the corridor looking. There's no hiding that. Heading into the room that's slightly open, has been left open for you anyway. As these guys interact with the priests, you look in, and lifting the sheets, you've been around dead people.
Yeah.
These 3, one of them has been dead several days. 2 of them are fresh within the day. None of them are the orator.
Right.
The two fresh ones did not die of natural causes.
Okay.
Meanwhile, you say we came out to organise it. Looks like it's already been done. And one of the priests, you don't know which one was which, named wise. What do you mean? It's already been done. If there is a corpse and it has not been sanctified, it needs to be done. It is the law.
As far as I understand it, you've already, or you lot have already picked it up, so...
Who?
The priests of Morr?
No, I know who we are. Who did we pick up?
I don't know his name. He lived in... do you know that Burroughs guy, the witch?
Yes.
He lived in his house. You know?
No, we don't.
Well, apparently, kind of like you guys were seen picking up the corpse and carrying it.
With a lot of corpses.
It was in a carriage.
But that's how we transport.
All right, okay. It must be you guys.
If somebody's reported a corpse and we found one, then we'll bring it.
I mean, just
rights.
bear in mind, we don't know the guy. We're just trying to be good Samaritans. We just thought he didn't have anyone, so we thought we'd take care of it, you know. But if somebody else obviously did have people, so no big deal.
I'll let the father know. Thank you for your service. And you'll ever watch from us. They then
Thank you.
Renyir as he steps back out. They give him a cursory glance and then look away.
Did you find it?
Shake my head.
Oh well. You must have dropped it outside.
Walk on.
Young man, wandering around in the Temple of Morr will give you bad dreams.
I've seen worse. Looking at Arnung.
Well, you say that, and, they look at you like any adults when a child says something ridiculously dark and stupid. What? Do you leave?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll leave.
Right. In which case, we shall leave it there, because no doubt you are heading to the tavern.
Yeah.
Just a couple of minutes before I physically end the stream itself, we've had a few people coming in. We've had a lurker, Ryan Singh. Thanks very much for lurking. Over the
Thank you.
Background.
I can't actually see it. Oh.
It's you're not allowed to. A lot of information there. Hopefully you're going to have it tucked away mentally so that you can bring Framling up to speed. What are things going on with the Morr then? Because they suddenly seem to got more involved.
Yeah, they just got a bit dodgy, didn't they? Aye.
It's like, we need to stop opening cans.
I thought that was going to be a really straightforward one with a really helpful guy, and he's like, no, never heard of him, never visited him before in my life. Lying cunt.
Bastard! Stab him!
But he was also kind of like, he liked money, but he didn't like it enough to bother his arse about anything. Bastard.
So, I mean, fair enough, you've got to remember that. The bastion wall comes out of the top of a mountain. Yep, that's about 20, 30 foot tall. It's a full-on, like the cliffs of the White City in Gondor. I mean, this is off the top of a mountain that's 500 foot. And then you've got these things hanging off the edge of the battlements. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that shit.
It's a bit extreme, isn't it? They could have just kind of like chucked them over the cliff.
No, they're warnings. That's what that's been repeatedly said. Is these are warnings, and they've got Malfika, a board that's in the cage in which it's the fate of witches, this sort of thing. So it's all part of the overall thing. So yeah, so very quick. Let's go over this. So you, the characters, talk to the High Capitular. Fantastic. Got some interesting news there. A couple of things that were said that weren't explored, but. For example, how they're getting their victims was touched on.
Yeah, well, I thought I thought we would get a chance to speak to her Oberlander, but not the night,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because we're going to go to the tavern and scope out and see if we could find any information. But that I was also going to try and kind of organise a quick kind of meet up at the same time,
Hmm.
and that would give kind of like you time to kind of like prep for that, you know.
No, absolutely. You know, we can, depending on what you're going to do. I mean, obviously, this is going around about 10 o'clock that night. So the
Yeah.
game could end with you guys going, look, we're going to go back to the tavern, sleep, then we're going to wake up and we're going to talk to family. In that amount of time, I can do some out-of-game stuff so you've got knowledge going in.
Yeah.
If you wished. Because what I don't want to do is open up certain information doors. I don't want everyone to have all the meta-knowledge going on.
Well, this is the thing, kind of like we've got like 3 people, and I've just kind of came in, and I don't have any knowledge about what was going on before that.
Yeah, exactly.
So kind of like I'm stalling a bit, kind of like I can't kind of like really kind of like help on along, and basically kind of like bring out that information because I haven't got a clue what the fuck is going on.
And you've only been there a couple of hours, and it's not you don't turn up and go blah 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 blah.
Exactly. So kind of like
it's got to be relevant. So yeah, so there's an Overlander link there. Obviously, you guys are all, well, specifically Arnung and Renyir. You're definitely on the watch list for this guy. How do you get in touch with the guy that says I'm going to watch you and you pissed us off? That'll be interesting for you. You've then went and checked out the Temple of Morr, and yeah, it looks like they're just as involved.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the big warning, of course, there's got to be the fact that you've been told via the torturous confessions that they're a bit concerned by the High Priest of Morr's coming along, and then you've just talked to him and he went, "What are we talking about? Never been there."
Yeah.
But of course, you've got no evidence that a suspicion that the orator's there. And if he is there, how did they act so quick? How did somebody report the body and for the Priest of Morr to turn up and whisk the body away that fast? You know, apart from Leaf and his people getting involved, this body should lie unnoticed for a couple of days in the normal sense. And that's only if the Knights go looking for him, going, why hasn't he showed up for work? You don't even know what that relationship's like. For example, he might only show up on a Sunday, so that means another week should go by.
Unless they always keep tabs on him.
Well, what, the Priests of Morr?
No, the orator has somebody who keeps tabs on him.
And then they went to the Priests of Morr. This guy was picked up within half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Remember? Yeah? He got there before Leaf's people.
It's as though they're kind of like they were going there anyway, isn't it? As in, he was all like you stepped in just before somebody else was about to step in. Do you know what I mean? The timing wise, kind of like it seems too planned, rather than kind of like them cleaning something up that went awry. Maybe it was something that was planned all along. It could have been anyway.
Of course, Renyir, you have seen when you were there having your chips, you suspected that you saw some movement in the curtained room.
Yeah.
So someone went to see the orator and found out almost immediately. I'm wondering if anyone actually saw Arnung.
You just spread word that was on.
What?
So you spread word that it was on as well?
Yeah, but I kind of like sent information kind of like that was sculpted to alleviate any issues for Arnung. But somebody may have been an eyewitness other than the boy who was reporting to me. As unlikely as it sounds, with kind of like a master thief as yourself, Renyir, kind of like watching the doors and the windows, it could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did you check the building before you kind of like you questioned, or did you just burst in there and wreck the fool?
I was the only one in the building.
Definitely.
Yes.
Well, we're out of game anyway.
That's true.
Not in game. So
that
question can
falling
go
back in there.
Yeah, this is an out-of-game discussion of what's going on there. But any of the viewers, of course, could look back through the old episodes and realise that Renyir did not go upstairs.
Lazy little shit, eh?
He went from the back door to the front door,
He's just full of fucking crap, this kid. Like, oh, I did that. Yep, that was me as well. And totally didn't fuck up at all.
No, but I did watch his house though, so
You
and we'll
did.
see that.
Yeah, but you didn't go upstairs.
So the main thing, of course, is that
Where the rest of his party was. Shitting their pants as this beast of a man tore their friend apart downstairs. Tore their friend apart while smacking the lips on him.
Sticking his finger up their bum, the squirming, the screaming. You know.
Yeah, disgraceful.
The house party upstairs was all like, hide behind curtains. Hide
Happy
in the wardrobe.
birthday!
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait till he comes in. It's going to be such a surprise. Worst timing ever.
Worst party ever.
But yeah, so I mean, obviously the situation there is even your guy missed something. So Renyir was aware of seeing something, but there was no way for him to know any better of what was going on. He also threw a rock off a priest of Morr's head. You know, there was a guy in the street.
Oh yeah, there was. Doink.
Oh, so you were actually an eyewitness for it being removed?
Well, you didn't see any carriage, did you? Or did you?
No carriage.
So,
I just threw the rock off your kid, and the priest of Morr got hit instead.
I never miss. Did you mean to hit the priest? I never miss.
Yes.
I hit something.
I always hit.
Yeah.
Never the intended target.
I mean, no doubt Renyir's going to tell you that the 3 bodies he checked there, of course, one's been dead over a week, and then there's 2 fresh corpses who've not died of natural causes. That might be something to consider as well. But
I did think kind of like to like meta out of game, kind of like have a look at the corpses, but I couldn't. You know what I mean? I would have been kind of not natural causes. So what, they've been stabbed or what? You know, but it would have been meta. So.
Yeah, well, in this point, I mean, obviously you said, was he there? He's gone outside. It could dawn on Leaf to say, what did you see? Obviously, Renyir, 3 bodies, 2 are fresh, natural causes. Look like they've been stabbed. Based on the wounds, you'll have witnessed that they happened without these guys being able to defend themselves, killing blows. So,
give him a description.
And he describes your 2 men. So there you go. We can have that as an out of game side of things. And you can clearly describe the 2 men that, and you know them to be very handy. You know, very capable guys. 2 of the older boys that work for you, and
were capable.
And they look like they didn't even get a chance to draw their weapons. There was no defense wounds. There was no marks on them, and they've been executed effectively. Based on a killer thief. Yeah, they were caught by surprise and killed, these guys. So we will be sitting down in front of Framling. No doubt it'll be the following morning, because day 4 needs to end at some point. Jesus. So we'll have it early morning. You'll come down and Framling will go, "Hey guys, how's it going?" And you're going to go, "Well." How do we tell
And then we
you?
went there, and then we did this, and then we did that, and they're involved, and he's involved, and the dead guys, they're everywhere. Oh my god, we don't know where to start.
And they all know us. But remember, Burrows seems to be one of your boys.
Yeah, that's the key information of the night, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, these 2 pissed off the priest of Sigmar.
Well, the rest of it is information that builds a picture. But the key direction, what do we need to be aware of? The key angle here is Burrows, one of your guys. He's important to you. Whether he's important to Framling's bigger picture, of course, he might be more interested in the priests of Morr and the Sigmarites and how they come together to be a bigger threat.
He's one of you guys, and all your cults getting tortured. I mean, targeted.
Cult.
Well, that's everyone's called a cult. It's not a bad word. Unless it's
generally a bad word, like.
Yeah, because we all call it religion, and then there's cults. Are there bad things in this particular mythos? Everything's a cult. The cult of Ulrich, the cult of Sigmar. If they say blood sacrificing, baby eating cult, then obviously it's the words before. Not a bad frowny bit. So I know obviously we're going to shut down now, but what I don't want to do is have you guys really go out of this and then come in next week with Framling and not understand the importance. So that's what I was hoping to sort of get out of you guys, is instead of just sort of going, hey, blah 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 blah, is actually, where do you think, what are you going with this? What's important? What's...
Well, we're going to have some downtime. Obviously, I've written loads of notes around, so we'll compare notes, have a discussion, so we have an idea how we're gonna approach Framling.
From afar.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think physically and logically you're going to do that, because when this starts up again, he's going to be sitting there with you. Are you
He can sit on one table, but we sit on the other end.
You're trying to get a story together to blag him. Right. What we need to do is tell him in such a concise way that he pats us on the back and thinks, job well done. We'll leave the bits where we might have hinted that we're involved in bad guys and that people might hunt us down and kill us. We'll leave that bit out.
Right. So we pissed off a priest of Sigmar. We lost a
How
body.
did we piss off a priest of Sigmar?
When we first went to ask him. Then asked him
that
about
was
lists.
fairly minor, though, wasn't it? That was just a bit of fun. That was nice.
Yeah, it definitely got darker, didn't it?
So we shall see. That'll be
Then-
interesting.
We lost a body which you had in your possession.
What, you're blaming me?
I was going to say...
I'm down 2 foot pads. They were important to my organisation, you know what I mean? And they're kind of like, they're dead now.
Right.
While you and the building never broke gaze. You were outside it all of this time.
Mhm.
And you're blaming me. Yet you were standing in front of it, stuffing your face with chips.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to go in.
Seeing out.
Well, when curtains were closed.
Why, moving curtain? Oh, fuck it. I'll chuck this stone instead of investigate.
Yeah.
Bastard.
Mm-hmm.
They were my favourite foot pads. They were in my fantasy league. They each had 7 kids.
and adopted more. And they're good men. They were good at what they did. That's why you sent them. And they got turned over. That in itself is something to consider as well. Even
It's like
subtle
them
of
dudes, you know.
references-
Them
even
dudes.
subtle of references or lowest of information, really think about what was said tonight, because you never know what the key bit of info is in there.
You
Remember
know,
how this is all done?
in the morgue, in the Temple of Morr, with unnatural stabbings.
Definitely unnatural. Yeah, just remember, lads, at the end of the day that everyone's going to focus on something that's been said, a certain feeling. Rarely did I go into the point of identifying that they were physically showing things, giving you big tells and hints. But the information that was coming out, some of it will be relevant, some won't be. Try to take on board everything that's been said there and sort of go, right, what is the true purpose here, what's going on? Like anything, when you interact
It's
with someone-
generally easier when you're in the same room to be able to read the characters that you play and get information from them. I do find it a little bit harder being across a video screen because it's quite small.
Yeah.
And I tend to kind of rely on a lot of your non-verbal cues to kind of like get that winning point of view, you know.
to relearn your skill set.
I mean, I like to be able to read you so I know which way to go, you know.
He's twitched. Right, stab that guy.
I know what he's thinking.
Get him. Well, guys, thanks very much for the night. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did.
So certainly informative.
That's it. Basically, I think that the one key message when Framling returns is that you say, well, in our defence, we were left alone.
Yeah, this is all your fault.
What do you mean defence? What would we need to defend ourselves against? We went to a priest, had a word with the priest, found some
Every time
information,
Ulmacourt
very
disappears,
usable.
trouble happens.
We've implicated the priests of Morr. Another good thing that has come out of this. All of this is good shit. Defending ourselves against what?
He'll
Giving
find
them
something. He'll find something
bringing
to tell
information.
You
Yeah.
That's it.
You will.
You've
Yeah,
got
Find
one of my
something to tell
guys.
you off. He'll
Plus-
tell Renyir to go and sit in the corner. He'll give Arnung grief
Shit.
for not managing himself or Renyir, And his new favourite, of course, he'll be like, oh, well, you were up against it.
Well,
and,
I
you
was
did the best you
up
could.
against it, and I managed to save Arnung a shitload of coin. Think about that.
It was your fault in the first place.
Yes,
He
but that
kept
was
just
going to
going,
be a
oh yeah,
hell,
I'm going to
hell
take
of
care
a
of it.
funeral. With honours, wailing, mourners, the lot, champagne flowing from every orifice of the corpse. You know what I mean? It would have been all the stops out, and I just like
That would have been a
stick my
first,
fingers
like,
and
being
just
robbed into a
took care
funeral
of
of the
it for
bloke
you.
that I murdered.
No problem.
Or you
All
could
you
have
had
just
to
asked
do
him
is
to
give him
talk
a
to the
chocolate
dead instead.
coin, and you were in there. You know what I mean? That was a cheap evening for you, like.
Brilliant.
Well, anyway, thanks very much, guys. I'm going to hit the end here. We'll get this uploaded tonight or tomorrow, and we'll look forward to seeing you next Friday, 9:15, to see what this information leads to, and will they be going into the barracks.
Thank you.
No.
Thanks for
Right.
watching.
Good night from Ken.
Yeah.
Good night from Talbot.
Good night from Holt.
Good night from Ivan.
Oh, oh.